This film is purely fictional. Please do not imitate it. Your like and subscribe are the motivation for me to update. Chapter 684, The Innate Divine Weapon, Addictive. The Haoyu Empire, Bobo Town. Bobo Town is located at the border of the Haoyu Empire. Walk more than 30 kilometers west from Bobo Town, and you will reach the territory of the Meteoric Sun Empire. Just one day ago, the Meteoric Sun Empire sent heavy troops, and the Haoyu Empire was defeated step by step, and the defense line was shrunk by 50 kilometers. The front line collapsed, and Bobo Town was naturally affected. People in the town packed up their bags and ran away. Wife, hurry up. Don't use those broken pots anymore. In Bobo Town, in a dilapidated house, Old Man John said in a low voice. In the kitchen, a woman was putting pots and pans into a backpack, mumbling, "Don't want it anymore. These are the only valuable things in our house. If you don't want them, you'll be left with nothing?" Old Man John rushed into the kitchen, grabbed the woman's arm and dragged her out the door. "The soldiers of the fallen Sun Empire are coming soon. If you don't leave now, you won't be able to escape. You are afraid of this and that. You useless coward." "Let me go!" the woman screamed. "I am so unlucky to be with a useless thing like you." "Shoo! Keep your voice down," Old Man John scolded in a low voice. But it was too late. Several soldiers of the Sun Meteoric Empire heard the woman's voice from a distance. They drew their sabers and rushed over with big strides. "Ha, there are still people in this town. I thought they had all run away." A soldier in the Sun Meteoric Empire uniform broke into Old Man Zhang's house with a big laugh and blocked Old Man Zhang and the woman inside. Old Man Zhang was terrified. He knelt down with a thud and pressed his head tightly to the ground. "Sir, spare me. Sir, spare me. You can take whatever you want, but please spare my life and my wife." "Spare me? Why should I spare you?" Two more soldiers walked into the house. They said with murderous intent, "You soldiers of the Moon Meteoric Empire, but slaughtered nearly 100 people of our Sun Meteoric Empire. This debt, naturally, you have to pay." As they spoke, the two soldiers had raised their sabers. "It's over. It's over." Seeing this, Old Man John was disheartened and kept backing away. "You unlucky bitch. You didn't leave when I told you to. And you kept yelling, bringing me death." Seeing that death was approaching, Old Man John finally couldn't help it and started to curse at the woman behind him. He couldn't beat the soldiers of the falling Sun Empire, so he could only vent his anger and complaints on his wife. The woman was already afraid, and when she heard Old Man Zhang's curse, she was so scared that her face turned pale, and she couldn't speak. But she suddenly remembered something, and tremblingly took out a silver-white pocket watch from her bosom. The moment she saw the pocket watch, the woman's face was full of piety, and she muttered, "God of pocket watches, please save your poor people." This scene made everyone in the room stunned for a moment. Puff. Ha! What is the God of pocket watches? I have never heard of it. One of the soldiers laughed. "Today, even if the Lord of Haoyu comes, he can't save you." Old Man Zhang was also very angry. He jumped up and slapped the pocket watch in the woman's hand away, cursing, "It's time. And you still believe in these lies. How could I marry a fool like you? You dare to touch my pocket watch. You useless thing." The pocket watch was knocked away, and the fear in the woman's heart disappeared instantly, and was replaced by a full of anger. She screamed, and wrestled with Old Man Zhang. Inside the house, two of the soldiers laughed and watched the fun. The remaining soldier took a step back calmly, raised his saber, and slashed at his teammate in front of him. Swish! Swish! Ah! Ah! After two screams, the two soldiers fell to the ground, and they were no longer breathing. Old Man Zhang and the woman who were wrestling looked at the last soldier in panic, not knowing why. How did these three soldiers suddenly quarrel among themselves? "Join my religion, and you will be blessed by God." The last soldier's face was covered in blood, but he looked solemn, and took out a silver-white pocket watch from his arms. He is also a member of the Pocket Watch God cult. You. The woman danced with joy. "You are also a member of my cult? That's great. Thank my God for blessing us. We are saved." Old Man Zhang swallowed his saliva. This ups and downs of the plot made him a little confused, but he could probably still understand the current situation. Because his wife and the soldier were both members of that cult, they were saved. "We will not die." Old Man Zhang still couldn't believe it. The remaining soldier shook his head. "No. You still have to die." Old Man Zhang was shocked. Why? You just knocked away the gift from God. The soldier raised his saber and walked slowly towards Old Man Zhang. If you don't respect my teachings, you will not have a good end. After that, the soldier chopped off Old Man Zhang's head with a knife. Blood spurted high, splashing all over the ceiling. Old Man Zhang's head rolled on the ground twice, his face full of astonishment, and he died with his eyes open. The woman was stunned for a while, then quickly stepped forward, picked up the pocket watch that fell on the ground, and wiped it carefully with her sleeve. Let's go. It's dangerous here. I'll take you to Zhucheng. It's safe there, the soldier said to the woman calmly. After arriving in Zhucheng, you must work hard to preach and promote my religion. Do you understand? The woman replied devoutly, I understand. Join my religion, and you will live forever. May the God of pocket watches bless you. The soldier said, May the God of pocket watches bless you. The two took advantage of the night and left Bobo town, leaving only the 3 dead bodies in the house. The roof not far away. Nefeng sat by the eaves, eating peaches with relish, like an invisible spectator, taking in all the scenes just now. Interesting. Nefeng sneered. The soldier only had pocket watches in his eyes, and he could kill his teammates, who fought side by side. The woman only had pocket watches in her eyes, and her husband, who had lived with her for decades, died in front of her, and she didn't even feel a trace of sadness. The silver-white pocket watch was like a degrade product, which made people unable to stop. On this journey, on average, there is one believer of the pocket watch god cult for every 10 people. Fortunately, these believers are all rookies, and there is not a single one above level 30. Of course, it is also possible that I didn't find it. Not that it didn't exist. Nefeng ate the peach cleanly, and then threw the peach pit out fiercely, killing the soldier and the woman who were walking away. He stood up, and his eyes passed through the night sky, looking at the tower more than 20 kilometers away. What does Sikong Bushua want to do? Control the whole world? Unify the whole world? It always feels that it is not that simple. The muzzle of the laser cannon emitted a dazzling red light, and the place where the crosshairs were aimed was the tower in the distance. After almost 2 months, Nefeng picked up his lifelong magic weapon again. After 2 months of not using it, he felt that the laser cannon was more handy to use. You are also like a degrade product. Nefeng looked down at the laser cannon in his hand, and whispered. He pulled the trigger fiercely, and the hot beam penetrated the night, cutting the tower in half. Chapter 685. Ice Sculptures that can use Morse code. Boom! Crash! The tall clock tower was cut in half by the scorching light, and collapsed with a loud bang. People within a few kilometers of the clock tower were startled by the sound of the collapse, and looked over. Everyone. Look, the Tower of God has collapsed. Who did it? He's really looking for death. I will definitely chop off his head with my big knife King Kinji, and offer it to the heaven. Don't be stupid. King Kinji, the opponent's strength is unfathomable. You will definitely not be able to beat him. Evil Tower Demolisher, the god of Pocket Watch will punish you. The followers of the Pocket Watch god cult living nearby all took out a silver-white pocket watch from their arms, held it in their palms, muttered something, and looked pious. All of this was seen by Nefeng, who was more than 20 kilometers away. Oh! These guys have been completely brainwashed. Huh? Wait. It seems that there are still a few who are still rational. Nefeng, who had sharp eyes, saw a few people in the crowd throwing their pocket watches into the sewer with a look of panic. These people were all more than level 20. After the clock tower was demolished, they quickly woke up and fled far away. They had realized that this pocket watch cult was a bit weird, and they didn't dare to stay here any longer. Can't you hypnotize people at level 20? Sikong Bushua, I'm a little disappointed with your bell tower. Nefeng curled his lips. He opened the chat panel and synchronized this information to Long Woody. Long Woody quickly replied, You can't hypnotize people at level 20. Something's wrong. Sikong Bushua shouldn't be so weak. Nefeng, maybe it's not that Sikong Bushua is weak, but that the bell tower is too weak. Long Woody, then why did he build a bell tower? Even if everyone below level 20 in the world obeys him, it's useless. This is not Blue Star. No matter how many low-level people there are, it is impossible to kill a level 40 warrior. Something is wrong. Let me think about it. Nefeng, then you can think about it slowly. I will go to dismantle the other bell towers first. After saying that, Nefeng was about to close the panel, but suddenly remembered something. Nefeng, by the way, Brother Long, your information is wrong. There are more than 20 bell towers here. Not the few you said. Long Woody, oh. I know. There are 27 in total. But I'm afraid if I tell you directly, you'll think the workload is too heavy and won't go. Nanfeng's face darkened, and he turned off the panel with a snap. My brother and I are close at heart, brother. Are you playing tricks on me? Will I be lazy because of the heavy workload? Obviously not. I'm not that kind of person. Alas, 27 bell towers. I'm not sure of the exact location of each bell tower. How long will it take to demolish them? Nanfeng was a little troubled. Half a day ago, after he arrived at the border between the two countries, he saw the first bell tower. He did not rush to take action directly, but disguised himself as an old farmer, and mixed in the crowd to find out the news. It was very simple to find out the news of the pocket watch cult. Nanfeng just stood on the street, looked up and wailed loudly, "Oh my God! Why is my life so miserable?" A few minutes later, a believer came over and gave Nanfeng a pocket watch, and said kindly, "May the God of pocket watch bless you." Nanfeng naturally took the pocket watch and became a member of the pocket watch cult. Because of the religious rule that believers cannot deceive each other, Nanfeng quickly found out the details of the pocket watch god cult. For example, there are currently 27 gods towers built. The number of believers has exceeded 50,000. And some high-ranking officials of the two empires are also believers of the pocket watch god cult. After a series of interrogations, Nanfeng subconsciously felt that the pocket watch god cult was nothing special. Although the pocket watch god cult developed rapidly, there were not many masters in the cult, just like children playing house. And there was nothing to be afraid of. So Nanfeng didn't want to waste time, and prepared to dismantle the tower quickly, and return to the ancient forest to continue fighting Star Tiger King for 300 rounds. But the problem now is that Nanfeng only knows that there are 27 bell towers. But he is not sure where these 27 bell towers are. Some bell towers are around the town, and you can see them at a glance, which is easy to find. But some bell towers are hidden in the mountains and forests, and you can't see them at all unless you go in. If you look for them one by one, how long will it take to find them? Forget it. First dismantle the ones you can find, and the ones you can't find will be dealt with later. In the night, Nanfeng took off into the sky and headed straight for Mianqing, which was more than 40 kilometers away. There is a bell tower outside Mianqing. He heard about it from a certain believer today. Yeah? A sharp cry sounded in Nanfeng's ears. He turned his head slightly, and saw that it was a huge snow-white eagle flying towards him. Level 43 beast? Nanfeng raised the desert eagle, and was about to shoot it to death. Yeah. The ice sculpture seemed to know the power of the desert eagle, and began to fly up and down, left and right, and made rhythmic ya calls while flying. Nanfeng was stunned for a moment, and suddenly an idea flashed in his mind. He understood what the ice sculpture was doing. Oh my God! Morse code? So advanced? The ice sculpture made long and short chirps, which sounded like it was typing Morse code. Unfortunately, Nanfeng was not very skilled. He only knew that the ice sculpture was typing Morse code, but he didn't know what the Morse code meant. Wait, this ice sculpture looks familiar. Aren't you Catherine's pet? Chapter 686 Catherine's Town. In the land of divine pets, Catherine's contracted pet was an ice sculpture. When the ice sculpture was born, it was only the size of a palm, but now its size is comparable to a small fighter jet, so it was normal that Nanfeng didn't recognize it for a while. Dumb! Seeing that Nanfeng recognized him, the ice sculpture immediately turned around and flew away. It should be taking me to find Catherine. Nanfeng pondered for a moment and followed. I haven't seen this little girl Catherine for a long time. Nanfeng heard that she also broke through to level 45 some time ago, and her strength is still strong, as expected of the third person in World No. 9. The man and the bird flew for more than 10 kilometers, and the ice sculpture suddenly dived, rushed down the clouds, and flew to a small town. Nanfeng followed closely, and landed outside the town. Who is it? Stop! Don't go any further. At the entrance of the town, two men shouted at Nanfeng. Before Nanfeng could speak, he saw a strong man in heavy armor, walking out of the town. Ha ha, Nanfeng. The strong man laughed heartily. Long time no see. Nanfeng looked carefully and recognized the strong man. Hey, isn't this Andre? Why are you here? Andre, a strong man in the third war zone of World No. 9, Nanfeng had fought side by side with him several times. Later, somehow, Andre suddenly joined Catherine Vina, and became her #1 tank. Since then, the two have rarely met, but occasionally chatted in the chat channel. It's a long story. Come with me first. The queen is waiting for you inside. Andre waved to Nafong, signaling Nafong to follow, and then turned and walked into the town. Nafong strode forward, and when he reached the entrance of the town, the two men guarding the gate stretched out their hands at the same time and stopped Nafong. What do you mean? Nafeng's face darkened slightly, and his eyes swept back and forth between the two men's faces. The two men saw Nafeng's cold eyes and were a little scared, but they still said with courage, "How do you prove that you are Nafong? We can't let a fake sneak in." Nafong used a dragon fist with his left hand and a tiger palm with his right hand and knocked the two gatekeepers dozens of meters away. Screams rang out, and the two gatekeepers spit out blood and rolled on the ground in pain. "I'll prove it, and I'll give you face back." Nafong clapped his hands and took 3 or 2 steps forward and walked side by side with Andre. Andre chuckled and said, "Those two idiots are Edward's men. I have been annoyed with them for a long time, but because of our relationship as colleagues, I can't do anything." Nafong sneered. "Edward? Haha. That idiot who can only hide behind the chat channel and chatter. I have been annoyed with him for a long time. He is also in this town? Then I will teach him a lesson today. Of course, half of the chosen ones in our Dawn City are here," Andre whispered. From what Queen Catherine said, she should want to build a city here. You know, we can't stay in the fog for long. We have to get out eventually. Nafong nodded slightly. That's the truth. After all, the ancient forest is the territory of ferocious beasts, and we can't live there for long. Recently, Longwoody has been building roads like crazy, thinking that one day he can transfer ordinary people in the fog to Baishui City. But Nafong didn't expect that Catherine would actually think of building a city here. This place is located at the border of the two countries. There have been many wars recently, and it's not a good location no matter how you look at it. Nafong followed Andre through many twists and turns, and soon arrived at an open space. It was late at night, and Catherine was not asleep either, but was practicing swordsmanship in the open wasteland. When she saw Nafong coming, her figure flashed, and she drew a Z-shaped arc in the open space, and the long sword in her hand quickly stabbed at Nafeng's neck. Snake swim. Nafeng's body twisted flexibly like a water snake, and she dodged the sword by sticking to the blade. Crane claw. At the same time, Nafong made claws with both hands, and tightly grasped Catherine's wrist. Catherine's eyes narrowed slightly, and her wrist shook rapidly, and she instantly broke free from Nafeng's hands. Awesome. Catherine put away her sword and said softly, "Of course." Nafong laughed. "I'm talking about Longwoody," Catherine said coldly. "He just trained you for a period of time, and he made your strength improve by leaps and bounds. It's really amazing." Nafong. "What do you mean by strength improves by leaps and bounds? You're talking as if I was weak before? I didn't even take out my life-defining magic weapon just now. Okay. Otherwise, you still want to get close to me? Woman. You're kidding." Catherine slowly spoke. "What are you doing here? Isn't your Dragon Kingdom's territory in the southern part of the Falling Sun Empire?" Nafong replied, "Sikong Bushua is causing trouble nearby. I came to take a look." "Are you talking about the Pocket Watch cult?" Catherine has been here for a while, and knows the situation here better than Nafong. "I sent people to investigate the Pocket Watch cult, but I didn't find out what Sikong Bushua's purpose is. He seems to just want to control the lower-class people." Nafong waved his hand. "I don't care what his purpose is, I'm just here to demolish the tower. By the way, do you know the exact location of the 27 bell towers of the Pocket Watch cult?" Catherine thought for a while. "Bell towers? I need to ask my subordinates. They should know. If you are not in a hurry, you can rest in the town first, and I will give you an answer before dawn." Nafong was delighted. "That's great. I don't have to look for them one by one." Catherine nodded slightly. Her expression was still as cold as ever. "Andre, take Nafong to rest. Or go to the night market." Andre, who had been silent all the time, immediately said, "Yes, Queen." The two left the open space, leaving Catherine alone, still practicing swordsmanship in the same place. The Queen's aura is still so strong. I feel a little scared every time I face her." On the way, Andre whispered, "You are such a big and strong man. Are you afraid of women?" Looking at Andre's height of more than 2 meters, and then listening to his words, the contrast made Nafong want to laugh. But Na Feng did not laugh out loud. Because of his peripheral vision, he found that in the houses on both sides of this road, there were many pairs of eyes staring at him. These people should be the chosen ones of Dawn City, that is, Catherine's men. In this dark night, they hid in the dark room, opened the window a tiny crack, and stared at Na Feng with cold eyes. It was a bit weird no matter how you looked at it. Wait. Suddenly, Nanfeng's heart skipped a beat. His tactical mask had a night vision effect. So this dark night was no different from daytime for him. He just saw clearly that behind a window, on the neck of a chosen one, there was a silver-white object hanging. It was a pocket watch. Chapter 687, Twins Meet Again. A chosen one under Catherine has Sikong Bushua's pocket watch hanging around his neck. Nanfeng's expression was slightly condensed, and he felt that things were starting to get troublesome. Has the chosen one been hypnotized? In this town, how many other chosen ones are wearing pocket watches? Does Catherine know about this? What does Sikong Bushua want to do? One after another, doubts appeared in Nanfeng's mind, and he couldn't help but sigh in a low voice. There are more and more questions. This sentence that came out of nowhere suddenly puzzled Andre beside him. Oh, my friend, if you have any questions, please tell me directly, I can give you the answers. Na Feng glanced at Andre. I don't know if Andre was hypnotized. Andre, what level are you? Na Feng suddenly asked. Andre scratched his head embarrassedly. I'm only level 42. Which is far behind you. Only level 42. In the ninth world, Andre was also considered a first-tier existence. I didn't expect that he is so far behind now. However, compared with other chosen ones, Andre's level is still very high. After all, there are less than 500 chosen ones who have broken through level 40. Level 42 is not bad. Na Feng clenched his fists, making a clicking sound. This long night is too boring. How about we have a fight? It's a good opportunity to practice the moves I just learned. Andre's face changed, and he pointed at himself and then at Na Feng. I want to fight you. Na Feng smiled and raised the corner of his mouth. His right fist had already swung out. Watch me. The speed of this punch was not fast, and Na Feng gave Andre enough time to react. Andre saw that Na Feng really took action, and quickly put up a heavy shield to block in front of him. Boom! The dull sound of the collision resounded throughout the town. Andre flew backwards, smashing the house behind him into pieces. The house collapsed, dust flew everywhere. Na Feng strode forward, reached out, and grabbed a man by the collar, smiled. What's going on, Andre? You can't even take my punch? The man looked panicked, and shook his head repeatedly. No, I'm not Andre, I'm Wilder. Na Feng knew that this person was not Andre, after all. Andre was more than 2 meters tall. It was difficult for ordinary people to make a mistake. This chosen one named Wilder originally lived in this wooden house. Na Feng punched Andre and let Andre crash into the wooden house, just to have a close and intimate contact with Wilder. Oh, you are not Andre? Na Feng pulled Wilder in front of him, stared at him carefully, and then smiled. Sorry, I recognized the wrong person. Then, Na Feng threw Wilder to the street outside. Na Feng, what do you want to do? In the dust, Andre raised his big shield and asked angrily. I want to spar with you. Na Feng approached Andre again and threw a punch. Watch my punch. Bang! Another dull sound. Nanfeng's punch hit Andre's big shield hard. Andre flew backwards again and knocked down another wooden house. The people in the house were so scared that they wanted to get away from here, but Na Feng had already reached out and grabbed his collar and looked down from the corner of his eye. I'm not Andre. The man spoke hurriedly. Na Feng stared at him for a few seconds, and said with a smile, Sorry, I recognized the wrong person again. After that, Na Feng also threw this person out. Brutal collision. Not far away. Andre, who was knocked away twice, roared, raised his heavy shield and rushed towards Na Feng. Na Feng chuckled, stepped on the dragon-like tiger step, and punched him. Watch my fist. Boom! Andre rushed over very fast, but flew back even faster. He spit out a mouthful of blood in the air, and after landing, he slid back more than 10 meters before stopping. Swish! A golden light flashed. Catherine appeared behind Na Feng without knowing when, and placed the holy light sword on Nanfeng's neck. Are you crazy? Catherine said coldly. Na Feng stretched out his hand to move the sword away, and said with a smile, Don't get excited, I'm just sparring with Andre. Andre in the distance got up from the ground a little aggrieved. Sparring? You are 3 levels higher than me, and you just hit me 3 times. You call this sparring? You, Nanfeng, are clearly bullying me. Nanfeng saw that the atmosphere was a little solemn, and quickly laughed. Okay, now the sparring is over, I'm going to rest. Where is my room? No one lives in this room, I'll sleep here. Nanfeng talked to himself, and under the gaze of everyone, he walked into an uninhabited hut. After closing the door, Nanfeng's face became slightly solemn. During the fight just now, he came into close contact with 2 chosen ones, and found that both of them had a pocket watch hanging around their necks. This means that most of Catherine's men have been tricked. I don't know if Catherine has been hypnotized? Nanfeng thought to himself. Sikong Bushua should not be able to hypnotize a level 45 warrior. Right? But there is a dream god behind him, so it's hard to say. If Catherine has not been hypnotized, does she know that her men have been hypnotized? What is the purpose of Catherine asking her pet to lead me here? By the way, where is her pet? Since entering the city, it has never appeared again. One question after another flashed through Nanfeng's mind. After thinking for a long time, Nanfeng finally decided to stay the same in the face of change, pretending to know nothing and taking one step at a time. Anyway, he is strong enough now. As long as the dream god does not take action, Sikong Bushua and Catherine combined cannot kill him. This is the confidence given to him by strength. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, Nanfeng closed his eyes and pricked up his ears to listen to the sounds in the town. The whispers of the chosen ones could not escape the capture of the tactical headset and were heard clearly by Nanfeng. In a valley several kilometers outside the town, Edward came here stealthily, observing the surroundings with a cautious look. As the first person to follow Catherine, Edward has a very high status in Dawn City, and it is not an exaggeration to say that he is the second in command. He manages Dawn City in an orderly manner, which saves Catherine a lot of worries, which is why Catherine has kept him by her side. Otherwise, with Edward's character of liking to attract hatred everywhere, Catherine would have killed him with a sword long ago. Strange, why is there no one here? In the dark night, Edward looked around, with a puzzled look on his face. This is the right place. Where did the people go? While he was muttering to himself, a voice suddenly sounded in his ear. Edward. Edward was startled, quickly stepped back several steps, covered his heart with his hand, and said, "Oh my God, you almost scared me to death." In front of Edward was a pair of twin sisters, who looked exactly the same. Chapter 688. Why don't you call me Queen? At night in the valley, Sisterly Manman's voice was as loud as a silver bell. "Edward, how are you doing with the task that the master asked you to do?" Edward bowed slightly, and replied, "Almost done." Sisterly Meow Meow heard this and nodded gently. "That's good. According to the agreement, after completing the task, Dawn City is yours." Edward hesitated for a moment, and asked, "Then, what about the Queen?" The twins knew what Edward was thinking. They smiled at each other, and said in unison, "It's yours too." Hearing this answer, Edward's heart was burning, and he couldn't wait to complete the master's task immediately. But he suddenly thought of something, and quickly said, "By the way, Nanfeng suddenly came to the town for some reason. With him here, the mission may not be able to proceed smoothly. I wonder if the master can help get rid of him." Li Meow Meow shook her head. "Don't pay attention to Nanfeng. He is here to demolish the tower. Just let him demolish it. Those towers are not important." Edward hurriedly said, "But..." "No buts," the master said. "Don't pay attention to Nanfeng." Li Manman's tone suddenly became stern. "You must remember. You are just a dog of the master. Dog, you have to be obedient." Edward knelt on the ground in fear, and said in panic, "I understand." Li Manman looked down at Edward. "Go away, and be careful. Don't let Catherine find out anything." Hearing this, Edward stood up and walked out of the valley, and soon disappeared into the night. After Edward walked away, the twins looked at each other. "There is no bell tower around this town. How could Nanfeng suddenly come here?" Li Meow Meow asked suspiciously. "I don't know. But the master said that he wants to demolish the bell tower. So let him demolish it." Li Manman chuckled. "This bell tower is not so easy to demolish. The master has specially prepared means to deal with him." Early morning. Nanfeng stretched and yawned as he walked out of the wooden house. He monitored the entire town last night, and did not hear any valuable information. Only Andre cursed all night, saying that after dawn, he would have another duel with Nanfeng to get back at the place. Nanfeng was very happy about this. Isn't it a good thing to have a free sandbag to practice boxing? However, this sandbag is a bit fragile, so Nanfeng has to hold back a little. Otherwise he might accidentally kill Andre. Just as he was thinking, Andre, who was more than 2 meters tall, appeared on the street and walked towards Nanfeng. Ha ha ha. Lord Nanfeng, you got up so early. Andre came over with a silly smile on his face. How was your rest last night? By the way, this is the map that the Queen gave you. The locations of the 23 bell towers are marked on it. You can take a look. As he said that, Andre took out a hand-drawn map and handed it to Nanfeng. Although Andre swore to the heavens last night that he would fight Nanfeng again today to get back his position, he still backed off after seeing Nanfeng. After all, there was a gap of 3 levels. He couldn't beat him. It was impossible to beat him. One should know the current situation and not ask for trouble. Andre decisively gave up the idea of another fight. Aren't there 27 bell towers? Nanfeng asked casually as he reached out to take the map. There are 4 more bell towers, and we don't know where they are exactly, Andre replied. Is that so? Then I have to find it myself. Nanfeng scanned the map and then wrote down the locations of the 23 bell towers. Okay, I have nothing to do here. I'll go and dismantle the towers. Nanfeng looked at Andre and said with a smile, Brother Andre, I'm not familiar with the roads in this town. Why don't you take me a ride? Andre frowned slightly. This town is so small. What does it matter if you're not familiar with the roads? Why don't you just fly out? Okay, I'll take you out of town. Andre agreed to Nanfeng's request. It only took half a minute for the two of them to walk out of the town one after the other. This town is really small. Nanfeng smiled and patted Andre's chest. Okay, Andre. Brother, I'll leave you after 1,000 days, and you should be careful. Andre didn't hear what Nanfeng said clearly, because when Nanfeng patted his chest, he heard a crack sound from inside his clothes, as if something was broken. What is it? Andre's eyes were a little dull, and he murmured in a low voice. What broke? He shook his clothes subconsciously, and saw some silver-white dust flying out from under his clothes. Silver-white. Andre's pupils shrank suddenly, and he thought of something, and took a half-step back in fear. He looked at Nanfeng in horror, and wanted to speak, but Nanfeng shook his head slightly, signaling him to shut up. Brother Andre, I'm leaving first. I'll come to learn from you next time I'm free. Nanfeng deliberately said loudly. You stay with Catherine and his sister well. Dawn City has a promising future. A promising future. After speaking, Nanfeng rushed into the sky with a whoosh and left the town. Andre had recovered from his panic and regained his composure. Will you let me stay with Catherine? Andre thought to himself. This is a dangerous job. When did I wear the pocket watch? Why don't I have any memory of it? Have I been hypnotized? By the way, where is Catherine? Has she been hypnotized? With a lot of doubts in his mind, Andre strode back to the town. Only then did he realize that the chosen ones in the town seemed to be a little bit wrong. They are all hypnotized. Andre was secretly shocked, and he quickened his pace to walk towards Catherine's residence. Catherine was still practicing sword in the empty yard. She was focused, and every move was natural. Everything in the outside world seemed unable to interfere with her sword heart. Catherine. Andre walked closer and spoke in a low voice. He wanted to attack indirectly and test whether Catherine was hypnotized. But as soon as he said the 3 words Catherine, Catherine turned her head, stared at Andre with cold eyes, and said coldly, Why don't you call me my queen? Andre broke out in a cold sweat. Swoosh. Boom. 20 kilometers outside Cotton City, Nanfeng blew up a bell tower with a shot. The third one. Solved. Nanfeng whistled, put away the laser cannon, and prepared to fly to the 4th bell tower. This job is still easy. Easy and brain-friendly. Suitable for Nan. If all these 20 towers were built together, it would be even better, and one shot could solve them all. Unfortunately, there is no if. Speaking of which, these bell towers are made of ordinary wood. Why can they be used as signal base stations? What is so magical about it? Should I find a bell tower to study? If I can understand the principle, maybe I can install Wi-Fi in Nancheng. After thinking for a long time, Nanfeng gave up this plan. It's unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. Mobile phones and computers haven't been developed yet. What's the use of Wi-Fi? And trying to figure out the principle consumes too much brain cells. Nan doesn't have that much time. Chapter 689, War Between the Two Countries, The Terrible Sikong Bushua, the first year of the Dragon Calendar, April 6th. Just when Nat Feng was leisurely demolishing towers everywhere, at the border between the falling Sun Empire and the Bright Moon Empire, the soldiers of the two countries once again broke out into a large-scale conflict. This conflict happened very suddenly. The cause was that a scout team of the falling Sun Empire collided with a scout team of the Bright Moon Empire. The scout teams of the two countries collided with each other. This kind of thing happened frequently. It was not a big deal. Under normal circumstances, everyone just symbolically moved their hands, and then went back to their own homes, and each went to their own mothers. After all, they were just a group of small scouts, who only got a few thousand copper coins a month. Why would they fight for their lives? But this time the situation was a little different. For some reason, the two scout teams got really angry while fighting, and they got into a fight. They were commonly known as killing blindly. Both sides soon had more than half of their casualties, and the scouts on the side of the falling Sun Empire found that they could not beat the other side, and immediately shot an explosive arrow into the sky. As the saying goes, one arrow pierces the clouds, and thousands of troops come to meet. The army of the Sun Meteoric Empire was stationed nearby, and 20,000 soldiers were immediately sent to help. The Haoyue Empire saw this and thought, "Hey, what do you mean? They are so arrogant in my Haoyue Empire's territory. Do they really think that our Haoyue Empire is easy to bully?" The great general of Jinshi, Guanyin, who was stationed on the front line of the Haoyue Empire, was furious, and immediately sent 50,000 troops to the battlefield to kill the enemy, vowing to kill all the Sun Meteoric soldiers who dared to invade. On the side of the falling Sun Empire, Shandong King Deyang was fishing leisurely, but he could not sit still immediately after hearing the news. 50,000 troops? The Haoyue Empire is serious about this. Deyang did not want to watch his soldiers die in vain, so he stopped fishing and directly selected soldiers and generals, leading 100,000 soldiers to the front line. 100,000 people came here, and 150,000 people came there. There were more and more corpses on the battlefield, and blood flowed like a river. The two sides became more and more angry, and more excited, and later, even Deyang and Guanyin personally went to the battlefield, rolling up their sleeves and getting to work. After hearing the news, Nafeng was stunned. Are these two countries so frivolous? Fighting to the death over a disagreement? It feels weird no matter how you look at it. Especially the cause of this war. Nafeng feels that Sikong Bushua is behind it. It just triggered a war, and tens of thousands of people died because of it. Sikong Bushua, you are really amazing. Nanfeng's eyes became cold. This Sikong Bushua must die. He can trigger a war between the falling Sun Empire and the Bright Moon Empire now. So in the future, he can trigger a war between the Dragon Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. It seems that this time, we can't just demolish the tower. We have to kill people, Nefeng said in his heart. Now, he is not afraid of Sikong Bushua, but the woman on Sikong Bushua's back. If the woman insists on saving Sikong Bushua, then Nefeng can only ask for foreign aid. 3 days later, the battle at the border of the two countries lasted for 3 whole days, until the ground under their feet was stained red with blood. The dead soldiers began to rot and stink, and both sides gradually recovered. This battle, for both countries, caused heavy casualties. In the wilderness, Deyang and Guanyin, who had fought for 3 days and 3 nights, slowly pulled away. Stop it, you and I are equally strong, neither of us can kill the other, Guanyin said in a deep voice. If you continue to fight, the ones who will die are our soldiers. Deyang's face was gloomy, staring at Guanyin. Humph, now you know to stop. If you had known this, why did you start this war? Guanyin shouted angrily. I started it. It was obviously your soldiers who crossed the border and killed my people, and now it has become a war started by me? You are really good at making the first move. Deyang still had a gloomy face. Humph, it was your soldiers who killed our civilians first, otherwise how could there be these messes later? You think I want to fight? I just want to go fishing. I have no interest in anything else. Guanyin looked impatient. Our soldiers killed your civilians? I don't know what you are talking about. I tell you, our Haoyue Empire has never done this. If you want to start a war, then start a war. There is no need to find such unfounded excuses. Deyang sneered. Ha ha ha. It wasn't you who did it. Could it be that someone else framed you? At this point, Deyang and Guanyin were both stunned for a moment, and the scene suddenly became quiet. After a while, Guanyin asked in a deep voice, have you caught those soldiers who killed your civilians? Deyang shook his head gently. No. I don't know what happened during this period of time. I'm addicted to fishing, and I can't get interested in anything else. Otherwise, I will personally take action, and those beasts will definitely not escape from my grasp." Guang Yun pondered for a moment, and said, "This matter is a bit strange. I need to go back and think about it carefully." Dion also noticed the abnormality in this war. The strength of the Falling Sun Empire and the Bright Moon Empire is comparable. Normally, they can't start such a big war because of such a small matter. You know, to their north, there is also a Wadika Empire eyeing them covetously. The two countries fought so hard. Wouldn't they benefit from the fools in the end? There is something strange. Definitely something strange. There must be someone secretly fanning the flames. Damn it. Is someone playing tricks on me? After figuring out the key, Dion cursed. When I find the despicable villain who played tricks, I will make him wish for death. After that, Dion took off and flew to the battlefield in the distance. As soon as he flew into the air, he saw the blood-red land and the piles of corpses. This scene made Dion, a veteran of many battles, a little dazed. It was too tragic. This battle was really too tragic. The number of soldiers who died on the battlefield of the Falling Sun Empire, I am afraid there are more than 100,000 for such a heavy loss. As the king of Zhendong of the Falling Sun Empire, he has an unshirkable responsibility. Stop, all of you stop! Dion shouted with his magic power, and rushed to the battlefield quickly. On the other side, Guang Yun patted the dust off his body, also prepared to go to the battlefield, ordered his soldiers to retreat, and stop this conspiracy war. But as soon as he flew into the sky, he found that Dion was flying towards him quickly with a cold face. Guang Yun frowned slightly, and said in a deep voice, "You come back again." Dion suddenly slashed with a knife, and actually cut Guang Yun in half. Guang Yun slowly lowered his head, watching his lower body fall from the sky, falling into the wilderness. "Why?" Guang Yun trembled and spoke. He couldn't figure out why Dion suddenly came back, and why he wanted to kill him. Moreover, Dion could actually cut him in half with one knife. Doesn't this mean that Dion didn't use his full strength in the previous 3 days and 3 nights of fighting? Why did he do this? The severe pain in his body made Guang Yun unable to think calmly. He roared, turned into a stream of light, flew away from here at a very fast speed, and headed straight for the imperial capital of the Halyu Empire. Behind him, Dion did not chase him, but leisurely put away his long sword, revealing a strange smile. Chapter 690. Because of level 45. There is still a gap. The first year of the Dragon Calendar. The 9th day of the 4th month. Just when the battle between the Falling Sun Empire and the Bright Moon Empire was in full swing, Long Wudi seized this opportunity and decisively launched an attack on Nanjiang City. In fact, several months ago, Long Wudi had already planned to capture Nanjiang City. However, the huge corpse in space delayed this plan for several months. Until today, Long Wudi felt that the time was ripe and decided to launch an attack. Attacking Nanjiang City is not as difficult as imagined. Recently, Long Wudi sent many chosen ones to sneak into the city. Although most of them were discovered, there are still a few chosen ones lurking in Nanjiang City. At this time, Long Wudi gave an order, and 100 special forces were teleported into Nanjiang City. The captains of these 100 special forces are all strong men above level 40, and each special force has 9 members, and the members are at least masters above level 37. With such a terrifying strength, he directly destroyed the headquarters of the City Defense Army of Nanjiang City with a crushing force. Nanjiang City was soon occupied by Long Chung. Of course, the old rules still apply. Those who surrender will not be killed, and civilians will not be killed. People have productivity, and what Long Wudi wants is not an empty city. There is a very important factor that made it so easy to capture Nanjiang City. That is, there are no strong men above level 40 in this city. It seems that the Emperor knows that I will attack Nanjiang City sooner or later. So he withdrew all the strong men in the city, so as not to give me experience in vain. Long Wudi stood on the city wall and smiled slightly. This is good. It can greatly reduce the casualties of the Dragon City chosen. As for the little experience lost, Long Wudi can level up now just by breathing. Experience is no longer important. The upgrade speed of my breathing method is still too slow. I will improve it when I have time. Long Wudi murmured. 3 hours later, the chaotic Nanjiang City gradually calmed down. The Dragon City chosen had completely taken over the entire city, and was now dealing with the bodies of the rebels in the city. The residents of Nanjiang City seemed to have anticipated this day, so they were very calm. It's boring, really boring. A man holding a golden long stick jumped onto the city wall and stood beside Long Woody inside. In this huge Nanjiang city, there are only a bunch of small fry. Alas, I thought there would be a thrilling battle, but Old Huang. Can't wait to fight. The man who came was none other than Huang Yuanming, who had just completed special training in Longcheng. Because he performed well during the special training, and he was half a relative, Huang Yuanming became the captain of one of the special forces in Longcheng. This special forces unit was named Flying General Special Forces by Huang Yuanming. Long Woody turned his head slightly, looked at Huang Yuanming and smiled. It seems that this battle did not satisfy Brother Huang. It is indeed not satisfying. Huang Yuanming played a set of stick flowers, then put the long stick on his shoulder, and put his hands on the long stick, with a bit of the style of a great sage. I think I am so strong now. Even if the emperor comes in person, Huang, can fight him. Seeing Huang Yuanming so arrogant, Long Woody couldn't help but said, in fact, there is still a strong man hidden in this Nanjiang city who has not made a move. Why don't you go and fight him? Huang Yuanming's eyes lit up. Where is it? Let me, Huang, meet him. It's in that small courtyard. Long Woody pointed to a small farmyard in the southeast. In the farmyard, an old man lying on a reclining chair felt Long Woody's sharp gaze, and suddenly opened his eyes. Alas, why do you have to be so bullying? The old man got up from the reclining chair. His figure flashed, and he came to the air. The terrifying aura emanated from his body, making the civilians in the city almost breathless. 45 level? Huang Yuanming's face changed drastically. No. How could there be a 45 level strawman hidden in the city? Huang, can't even deal with this. Fortunately, Long Woody didn't really want Huang Yuanming to take action. He slowly flew into the air and chuckled. A few months ago, you wanted to kill me with a knife. How can you say that I am bullying too much? The old man's face darkened slightly. A few months ago, just outside Nanjiang City, he was only a little bit away from killing Long Woody, Nanfeng, and Xiao Luo with one sword. Unfortunately, Tang Chungyun just came out of retreat and shattered his sword energy with one sword, and said a classic saying, there is still a gap at level 45. This incident caused him to be ridiculed by other level 45 masters in the country several times. Some time ago, the emperor suddenly issued an order, asking all the masters in Nanjiang City to evacuate as soon as possible, and not to confront the chosen one head-on. But the old man was unwilling to leave. He was born in Nanjiang City, grew up in Nanjiang City, and wanted to spend his old age in Nanjiang City. If those chosen ones are willing to coexist peacefully with him, then he will be happy and free. If they are not willing to coexist peacefully, he does not mind killing people everywhere to clear obstacles for the emperor, Lord of Dragon City, the strongest chosen one in the world. The old man fixed his eyes on Long Woody and said slowly, you are the person the emperor fears the most. Right? As long as you are killed, all this farce will end. Kill me? How do you kill me? Long Woody did not take the old man's harsh words to heart at all. What is the saying? Oh, by the way, there is still a gap at level 45. Looking for death. Hearing this sentence again, the old man could not hold it anymore, and slashed at Long Woody with a knife. Swish, 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 ding, ding, ding. This fierce battle made people in the city come out of their houses one after another, looking up and watching. The outcome of this battle determines the final ownership of Nanjiang City. However, what Long Woody said was right. There is still a gap even at level 45. As a chosen one, Long Woody is naturally stronger than the natives of the same level, not to mention that he is the strongest among the chosen ones. How is it possible? How long have you only broken through level 45? How can you be so strong? In just 100 rounds, the old man had already fallen into a disadvantage, and was beaten back by Long Woody. He was shocked in his heart. No wonder the emperor was so afraid of this group of chosen ones. It turned out that they were really strong. Very strong. Hey, cut it in half. Seeing that the situation was not right, the old man decisively slashed with a knife, and then flew out of the city. He did not slash at Long Woody, but slashed at Huang Yuanming, who was watching the excitement on the city wall. No martial ethics. Long Woody snorted coldly. His figure flashed, and he came in front of Huang Yuanming and smashed the knife energy with a punch. In such a short time, The old man had already flown far to the north. What a despicable old man, Long Jun Shou, hurry up and chase him and kill him. Huang Yuanming shouted. Long Woody smiled and said, I don't need to do anything. The direction the old man was flying was exactly the direction of Haishang City. Before attacking Nanjiang City, Long Woody had already communicated with everyone in Nancheng. If nothing unexpected happened, Xiao Luo should be there now. Right? Concentrate. The knife flashed, and the old man who was flying rapidly suddenly froze and stopped in midair. Xiao Luo, dressed in black, appeared in front of him. You and Long Woody were fighting well. Why did you chop Huang Yuanming? Who is Huang Yuanming? I don't know. The old man's body shook, and he got rid of the restraints. Boy, if you know what's good for you, get out of here. I can't beat the Lord of Dragon City. But can I beat you? You really can't beat me. Xiao Luo slowly drew his sword, and his momentum rose wildly, because we are level 45. There is still a gap. Chapter 691. Did the good fortune come so quickly this time? Level 45. There is still a gap. This sentence again. Okay. The old man who was already angry heard this sentence again, and laughed out of anger. There is a gap. Right? I'll show you what the gap is. After that, the old man drew his knife, and killed Xiao Luo directly. I have been on the road of cultivation for more than 1,000 years, working diligently, step by step, and never slacked off. This is how it is day after day, year after year, only then have I achieved what I have today. Gap? You ignorant youngsters, do you understand what the gap is? The angry old man exerted 120% of his strength, and exuded a terrifying murderous aura all over his body, swearing to take down Xiao Luo within 10 moves. He now had only one thought in his mind: if he couldn't beat the strongest chosen one, Long Woody, then how could he not beat an unknown little character like you? You're a little impatient. Xiao Luo looked calm, and casually took on the old man's first 3 most terrifying swords. Impatient. Your swordsmanship is full of loopholes. But I can always stay calm. This is the gap between us. The old man shouted, You messed up my Dao heart. You should be killed. The 3 most fierce swords were easily blocked by Xiao Luo, which made the old man even more irritated. These chosen ones, are they all so strong? How long have they been practicing? If I can't deal with this kid as soon as possible, when Long Woody catches up, the 2 of them will join forces, I will definitely die. Thinking of this, the old man became more anxious, and slashed with the long sword in his hand. Each sword was faster than the last, and each sword was stronger than the last. Don't worry, you can't hurt me with such a random attack. Xiao Luo was in a state of confusion, waving the purple gold short blade tightly, protecting himself. No matter how fast and fierce the old man's knife was, it could not break through his defense. Still talking nonsense, the old man shouted angrily. A large amount of magic power poured into the knife, and he slashed at the Nanjiang City under his feet. He had already realized that it was impossible to defeat Xiao Luo in a short time, so he wanted to repeat the trick and escape from here. The terrifying knife light hung in the sky above Nanjiang City, and the surging murderous aura made the civilians, who were watching the excitement in the city, scared to death. Some of the timid ones were so scared that they wet their pants. It's over. We are going to die. Run. Hide quickly. Xifeng. At the last moment of my life, I want to tell you. Boom. Suddenly, a fist wind came from a distance, and a punch shattered the knife aura. The shadow of death hanging over the heads of the civilians in the city was also blown away by this punch. Old man, I really overestimated you. Long Woody flew over with a sneer. You used this despicable method twice? Where's your face? Xiao Luo held the short knife across his body. I thought we only had a gap in strength, but I didn't expect there was also a gap in morality. The old man looked at the 2 people who were flanking him on both sides. His face solemn. He slowly said, Morality? It's really a woman's kindness. If the people of this city can save my life, then they deserve to die. And it is the blessing they earned in their previous life. Hearing this, Long Woody sighed. To be honest, I didn't intend to kill you. I just wanted to drive you out of Nanjiang City, because a fight of our level is simply a disaster for Nanjiang City. But now, I don't plan to let you go. Xiao Luo also had the same idea as Long Woody. This old man's hands are probably stained with the blood of innocent people. He deserves to be killed. The 2 of them said one thing after another, and they had already decided the life and death of the old man. Ha ha ha. The old man laughed angrily. You 2 little kids want to kill me? You are crazy. When I broke through level 45, your grandfather was not even born yet. Xiao Luo slashed with his sword. I hate people who take advantage of their age the most. Long Wudi did not hold back, and punched the old man in the face with one hand. Brother Xiao Luo, take him above the clouds, to avoid hurting the civilians in Nanjiang City. Okay. The two cooperated tacitly, and soon forced the old man above the clouds. White clouds were rolling under his feet. Long Wudi and Xiao Luo were attacking the old man from the corners. Although it's a bit unfair to fight one against two, but... Long Wudi laughed. Why should I talk about fairness with an old man like you who has no morals? Xiao Luo nodded and said, in addition to strength and morality, now, there is also a gap in numbers. The old man's face was gloomy and he said nothing. After knowing that there was no hope of escape, he calmed down instead and took out his strongest strength to fight. The real battle has just begun. Let's talk about two things separately. At this time, the border between the two countries. The big melee between the Falling Sun Empire and the Bright Moon Empire at the border naturally attracted Nafeng, who loved to watch the fun. But Nafeng came at a wrong time. When he arrived at the battlefield, the two armies had just stopped fighting and were preparing to retreat. No, I didn't even finish demolishing the tower when you came to watch the fun, but as soon as I arrived, you stopped fighting? Nafeng rolled his eyes. Are you targeting me? In fact, the day before yesterday, when this big melee just started, Nafeng had already received the news. But he thought that the two sides were just fighting casually, testing each other. And he didn't take it seriously, and continued to work hard to destroy the tower. Unexpectedly, the battle became more and more fierce. After destroying 14 towers, Nafeng finally couldn't hold back his desire to watch the fun, and rushed to the battlefield. From a distance, Nafeng heard Diang's full-throated words. Stop! Stop! Then the soldiers of the two countries ended the 3-day battle, and called off the battle. Nafeng came to see nothing. It's really outrageous. Those soldiers were clearly bloodthirsty. How could they stop so easily? Nafeng stood on a distant mountain, observing the battlefield stained with blood. There were still some scattered soldiers, who had not withdrawn on the battlefield. Nafeng could see a trace of confusion in their eyes. It seemed that they also didn't understand why this battle was so fierce and fierce. The battlefield of crisis, the tragic death of comrades, the painful roars, can stimulate the cruelty of the soldiers, and make them unable to remain calm. If at this time, Sikong Bushue used his ability again, subconsciously changed these soldiers, making them more ferocious and aggressive, more bloodthirsty and brutal, then this war will become more and more intense, no wonder. Nafeng said in his heart, facing Sikong Bushue. The most important thing is to stay calm. This kind of chaotic war is perfect for him. He was born for war. There is no dream tower nearby. If Sikong Bushue wants to influence so many soldiers, he must be nearby. Perhaps this is a good opportunity to kill him. Nafeng pondered for a moment, took out a pendant that he hadn't used for a long time from his backpack, and hung it around his neck. Lucky amulet. This equipment will bring luck to Nafeng. But to get this luck, he still needs to pay a small price. For example, Nafeng took a step forward and came to the edge of the cliff. If nothing unexpected happens, I will have an accident soon. Crack. Before he finished speaking, Nafeng heard a crisp sound. The stone under his feet cracked. Nafeng fell headfirst from the top of the mountain, which was more than 1,000 meters high, into the deep valley. He did not fly, but fell in a completely free fall. He had to accept this bad luck, in order to get lucky. In the valley, there was a pair of twin sisters, who looked almost exactly the same. Sister, the master's mission has been completed, let's go, eh? What? Big and small pieces of rubble fell from the top of the mountain. The twins looked up in confusion, only to see a figure falling from the sky in the shape of a large letter, and fell to the ground with a thud. Dust flew everywhere. After a moment, the voice of Nafeng reached the ears of the twins. Cough cough cough, pa, eat my mouthful of dust. Huh? Isn't this the twins? This time. Your good luck comes so quickly? Chapter 692 Siana's Fatal Question. After the dust settled a little, the twins finally saw who fell from the sky. Nafeng. Is it you? Li Man, the elder sister, was secretly surprised. This valley was remote and desolate. Even birds were unwilling to come here to poop. How could Nafeng find this place so accurately? Lord Nafeng? Li Miamia, the younger sister, put away her surprise and said with a smile. What wind brought you here? We two sisters are sorry for not welcoming you in person. Please forgive us. Lord City Lord. Na Fong patted the dust off her body and said with a smile. You are much more polite than your sister. As she said that, Na Fong took a few steps forward, walked in front of the twins, and got straight to the point. Sikong Bushua is also nearby. Right? Take me to find him. The twins looked at each other and shook their heads gently. Sorry, Lord Na Fong. The master is not seeing outsiders now. Na Fong looked up and down at the twins, and suddenly laughed. Do you know that you are hypnotized? The twins' faces froze slightly, and they didn't speak. Seeing that the two did not respond, Na Fong did not get angry, but spoke to herself. Sometimes I am a little confused. Are you two hypnotized? You obey Sikong Bushua's orders. It is obvious that you are hypnotized, but you seem to retain your own consciousness and thoughts, which are completely different from those other hypnotized people. It's really strange. How about this? You take me to find Sikong Bushua. After I kill him, whether you are hypnotized or not, you can be freed. You are not willing to be Sikong Bushua's mate forever, right? It must be said that Namfan's words are very tempting. The twins were not weak, and they had good figures, good looks, and good brains. How could such beautiful sisters be willing to submit to Sikong Bushua? Na Fong felt that the twins would most likely agree to his request. But women's hearts are like needles in the sea. And Na Fong still guessed wrong. We were not hypnotized. The younger sister Li Miaomia said in a voice as loud as a silver bell. Thank you for the kindness of the Lord of Na Fong's city. My sister and I are willing to follow the master. The elder sister Li Manman continued. If the Lord of Na Fong's city has nothing else to do, then the two sisters will take their leave first. After that, the two sisters bowed slightly to Na Fong and were about to leave the valley. Alas, I really don't want to hit a woman. Na Fong sighed, stepped on the steps of a dragon and a tiger, and instantly came behind the twins, clamped one of the white necks with one hand, and lifted the twins up. If you don't listen to my good talk, then don't blame me for being ruthless, Na Fong said coldly. I'll give you 3 seconds to tell me where Sikong Bushua is. While Na Fong was speaking, his hands were also exerting force. His two hands were like two hydraulic clamps, tightly pinching the twins' necks, making a creaking sound. The difference in strength between them was too great. Na Fong only needed to use a little more force to crush the twins' necks and kill them. Ugh! The twins' faces flushed, looking uncomfortable, and they could only moan in pain from their throats. 3, 2. Na Fong counted down indifferently. He didn't believe that Sikong Bo would watch him and kill the twins. Duh. Sure enough, Na Fong hadn't counted to 1 when footsteps sounded behind him. Na Fong turned his head and saw Sikong Bushua, who looked sunny and handsome, walking slowly towards him. Na Fong, let them go. Your opponent is me. Sikong Bushua smiled warmly, like a sunny and cheerful boy. For a moment, a trace of doubt flashed through Na Fong's mind. Was he really going to kill this harmless, kind-looking man in front of him? Crack, crack. Na Fong exerted force with both hands and crushed the necks of Li Manman and Li Miaomia. The twins' pupils shrank sharply, and their health dropped sharply. Fortunately, they were both strong men above level 40. So even with such serious injuries, they could still survive for a while, and would not die directly. Sikong Bushua shook his head slightly, and chuckled. You are going too far. There is a grudge between us. Why should we involve them? I have never attacked your people. Didn't I leave them a chance? Na Fong turned around, and looked Sikong Bushua in the face. Don't you have a trick? What? Who wakes up first from a big dream? How can such a small injury bother you? Hearing this, Sikong Bushua's face darkened slightly. What do you mean? Sikong Bushua is so cautious. How could he come out to see me openly? So you are definitely not Sikong Bushua. Na Fong sneered. Then, besides Sikong Bushua, you are the only one who would appear here, Suyana. Opposite Na Fong, Sikong Bushua was silent for a moment, then his figure swayed, and turned into Suyana's appearance. This was the second time that Na Fong had seen Suyana outside of his dream. The last time in Lian City, Suyana and Emperor Zun fought. Suyana was just a vague shadow at that time. But now, she has a physical body. Na Fong could feel the energy in Suyana's body that was like the ocean. With Na Fong's current vision, he could not see through Suyana's strength at all. Na Fong only knew that if he really fought with Suyana, he would have no chance of winning. You can recognize me at a glance. That's not bad. Suyana's voice was as cold as ever. For Xianan's sake, I won't kill you. Go back to your Nancheng. Don't come here to affect my plan. What plan? A plan to cause a war between the two countries? Or a plan to rule the world? Nanfeng said in a deep voice. If you want to rule the world, you obviously have a better way. Why let so many soldiers lose their lives in vain? Nanfeng is not a saint. He has killed many people. Even when fighting with other strong men, he has killed many innocent people by mistake. But he still can't accept Suyana's approach. If she wants to rule the world, Suyana can completely control the top leaders of the three empires. This is not a difficult task for her. And it is even simpler. Why does she need to cause a war? Let the world flow with blood. And let those people at the bottom die in vain? Ruling the world? Only children would have such a dream. Suyana said softly. It is normal that you don't understand my approach now. When you can reach my level, you will understand why I do this. After a pause, Suyana suddenly thought of someone. Smiled and shook her head, however. You will never be able to reach my level. Because Long Wudi is much stronger than you. Do you believe it? One day in the future, Long Wudi will do the same thing as me. Nanfeng shook his head firmly and said, I don't believe it. Hee hee. Suyana laughed. If one day, the Blue Star people and the natives of this world, only one side can survive, will you choose to kill all the Blue Star people, or kill all the natives? Nanfeng's expression gradually froze. Chapter 693 It is because of me that you are where you are today. And Nancheng is where it is today. Why do we have to kill one of them? Nanfeng said slowly. The people of Blue Star and the natives can coexist in this world. For example, in the current Black Crow City, Engjiang City, Haishang City, etc. We get along very well with the natives. Suyana said softly. That is only now. We can coexist peacefully now. But it does not mean that we can coexist peacefully in the future. Every living being is a ray of energy. Only when we collect all these scattered energies can we barely have the ability to compete with him. You are still too weak. And you don't understand how powerful he is. But in the near future, you will understand me after all, said. Suyana gently waved her sleeves. Behind Nanfeng, the twin sisters who had fallen to the ground in pain, stood up swiftly. The wounds on their necks had completely healed. Go back to your Nancheng, and don't bother me anymore. Suyana said this lightly, turned around and prepared to leave. Wait. Nanfeng called her. Suyana turned around, and asked in confusion, anything else? Of course. Nanfeng was silent for a while, and asked, after you kill all the natives, will you attack the Blue Star people? Suyana nodded. If I feel that the energy is not enough to compete with him, then I will. Then, Suyana added, of course, I won't kill those ordinary people, there is not much energy in their bodies for me to absorb. Nanfeng heard this and laughed bitterly. So, you will prioritize killing the chosen ones? Absorb the power of us chosen ones, and become the strongest you can be? Suyana didn't say anything. But it was obvious from her expression that Nanfeng was right. At the beginning, I really shouldn't have brought you out of world, no. 9. Nanfeng sighed. He brought out an unstable bomb for all the chosen ones. And brought out a death god who could kill them at any time. Do you think you helped me? Suyana sneered. You are wrong. I have been helping you all the time. Do you know why my statue is in Area 527 of World No. 9? Because more than 100,000 years ago, Area 527 of World No. 9 today was the No. 1 war zone of World No. 1, which is where I am. Why can you sign a contract with Xiaonan? Why can you become one of the best among the chosen ones of this year? It's all because I chose you, and have been helping you in secret. Otherwise, with your talent and character, how can you get to where you are today? What qualifications do you have to stand here and talk to me? It is because of me that you can have what you have today. And Nancheng can have what you have today. Take my statue out of World No. 9 you owe me, it's what you should do. Suyana's words kept echoing in Nanfeng's ears, making him silent for a long time. When he came to his senses, Suyana and the twins had already left here. Nanfeng's mouth twitched, smiled with a far-fetched smile, muttered, this bitch's words are really hurtful, she means that I am a piece of trash. Without her help, I am nothing. Ha ha, am I? Nan. Such a waste? Nanfeng stood there for a long time. Until the sun set, he slowly exhaled a breath of foul air. Go back to Nancheng. Nanfeng thought so in his heart. What dream tower, what pocket watch cult, what Sikong Bushua, all go to hell. According to Suyana, she is preparing to refine the natives of the entire primitive world, refine all the chosen ones, to help her return to the level of creation god. Sikong Bushua is just a chess piece of Suya Na, even if he is killed. Nothing will change. Since Suya Na can't be stopped, then don't waste time here, go back to Nancheng early, and spend the next time happily with the brothers, isn't it better? Thinking of this, Nanfeng couldn't help but sigh, I'm really useless, I accepted my fate so quickly. But what can I do, if I don't accept my fate? He can't beat Suya Na. If there is anyone in the world who can stop Suyana, it is probably only Long Wudi. This matter concerns the lives of the people in the world. Let him worry about it. Nanfeng was in a complicated mood. Slowly took off into the air, and flew towards the direction of Black Crow City. The night was deep, and the round moon like a jade plate slowly climbed up the sky. A silver-white stream of light suddenly flew over Nanfeng's head, and headed straight for the territory of the Falling Sun Empire. Diyang, come out and die. Soon. A deafening voice came from the territory of the Falling Sun Empire. The terrifying power contained in it made Nanfeng feel a little dangerous. You know, he was at least 100 kilometers away from where the sound came from. What's going on? Nanfeng frowned slightly, and looked towards the direction of the Falling Sun Empire. In the sky, a middle-aged man in a white robe stood in the air, with his hands behind his back, staring coldly at the military camp below. Who is this man? He was obviously only level 45. But he could bring a strong sense of oppression to Nanfeng, far exceeding other strong men of the same level. Nanfeng had only felt this feeling from Emperor Zun. There is also a gap at level 45. This sentence is really correct. Nanfeng deduced in his mind that if he fought with this white-robed man, his chances of winning should be less than half. It seems that this man should be a strong man from the Haoyue Empire. He rushed into the territory of the Yunri Empire in the middle of the night. What did he want to do? Continue the unfinished battle just now? Nanfeng threw away all the complicated feelings just now, and flew over quickly with the intention of watching the fun. At the same time, in the military camp of the Yunri Empire, Zhendong King Diyang frowned. He fought with Guangyun of the Haoyue Empire for 3 days and 3 nights, and just came back to rest for a while. Why is there another challenge? And the person who came this time seems to be stronger than Guangyun. 10 points. Who is coming? The opponent has already killed to the doorstep, and Diyang can't hide in the camp without showing up. He shouted loudly, and his figure flashed, and he came into the air. After seeing the white-robed man in the air, Diyang's scalp suddenly went numb, and his voice was trembling. You Huang? The man was the current ruler of Haoyue Empire. Yu Huang. Yu Huang's eyes were cold, and his voice was equally cold, invading my Haoyue Empire, provoking a war between the two countries, and killing our General Guangyun, who guarded the border. Hee. Diyang, you are really great. Hearing this, Diyang suddenly realized that something was wrong, and quickly said, Wait! Lord Yu Huang, I didn't kill Guangyun. You dare to quibble. Yu Huang shouted angrily. You shouldn't have thought that even if he was cut in half, Guangyun could still drag half of his body back to my Yushan palace. These are what he told me before he died. This emperor came here to take your life and avenge our border general. Emperor Yang felt the strong murderous intent in the eyes of Emperor Yu, and sneered, if you want to accuse someone, you can always find a pretext. But Emperor Yu, you have to think it through. If you kill me, how will you face the anger of the emperor? These are not your concerns, Emperor Yu said coldly, and he waved his hands, and was about to kill Emperor Yang. Nanfeng, who was watching the excitement, took a breath of cold air. My goodness, the ruler of a country actually killed people in public? Isn't the ruler of the Haoyue Empire too irritable? Seeing that Emperor Yu was about to take action, Nanfeng quickly flew over, used his magic power and shouted, Emperor Yu, show mercy. Chapter 694. This is the last chance to kill Suyana. Moon Emperor, have mercy. Nanfeng increased his speed to the extreme, and rushed over before Moon Emperor made a move. Diyang and Moon Emperor turned their heads at the same time, looking at Nanfeng with cautious eyes. The chosen one? Diyang thought for a moment, and knew Nanfeng's identity. Are you Nanfeng, the lord of Nancheng? I have seen your portrait. Nanfeng, I know you. Moon Emperor said. I heard that you killed Di Yuan, and you have an irreconcilable feud with Emperor Zun. We should be considered allies. Why do you want to stop me from killing Di Yang? Nanfeng organized his words in his mind, then said in a deep voice, Di Yang's life or death has nothing to do with me, and I am not here to stop you from killing him. Di Yang's face darkened when he heard this. He thought Nanfeng was his life-saving straw, But he didn't expect that this straw had never thought of saving him, and might even be the last straw that crushed him to death. After hearing Nanfeng's answer, Yu Huang asked curiously, "What are you doing?" "I have something I want to remind you, Lord Yu Huang." Nanfeng's voice was calm and steady. "Think carefully about everything that happened today. Are there many unreasonable places? For example, with Di Yang's strength, can he really kill General Guang Yun? Another example, as the ruler of a country, with your character, will you really ignore everything and come directly to the Meteorite Empire to kill people?" The face of Yu Huang darkened slightly. He thought carefully about everything that happened today, and it seemed that there was something wrong. Early in the morning, it rained heavily in the Moon Palace, which reminded the Moon Emperor of the heavy rain that lasted for several months some time ago. He began to feel a little irritated for no reason. At lunch, the Moon Emperor found half a fart bug in the dish. This kind of beast feeds on feces, and its farts are extremely smelly. Even dogs shake their heads when they see it. It is not known whether this fart bug was deliberately put in by the kitchen staff, or accidentally ran in while cooking. In short, it disgusted the Moon Emperor. He became even more upset, and ordered all the cooks in the imperial kitchen to be chopped up and fed to the dogs, and replaced them with a new batch of cooks. In the afternoon, the Moon Emperor received another piece of bad news. The prince, whom he was most optimistic about, actually went astray during his training. Fortunately, the problem was not serious, and it did not affect the prince's foundation. He could return to the peak after a period of rest. But these things, one after another, had made the Moon Emperor feel extremely bad. At this time, the General Guan Yun, who was only half of his body left, came to the Moon God Palace with his last breath, and listed all the crimes of Di Yang in front of the Moon Emperor. Invading the border of Hallyu Empire, massacre of civilians, starting a war, cutting Guang Yun in half. After saying this, Guang Yun's head tilted, and he died at the doorstep of Emperor Yu's house. The Emperor Yu was furious. The sun-falling empire was simply going too far. Ignoring the dissuasion of the ministers, he headed straight to the border of the two countries alone, wanting Di Yang to pay for Guang Yun's life. At this time, with the reminder of Nanfeng, the Emperor Yu finally came to his senses. He was tricked. "Is someone influencing me secretly?" The Moon Emperor snorted coldly, with murderous intent in his eyes. "In today's world, the only person who can trick me silently is probably the Emperor." "Nonsense. The Emperor would not use such a despicable method," Di Yang retorted. "Besides, he flew out of the sky several months ago, and has not returned yet. We don't know his whereabouts." Nanfeng also added, "Moon Emperor, excuse me for being blunt, the Emperor is already level 46. If he really wants the Hallyu Empire, he can just go to the Moon God Palace and kill you. Why go to so much trouble?" This sentence was harsh, but the Moon Emperor had to admit that Nanfeng was right. The 46th level Emperor is the most powerful being in the world. Recently, Yue Huang has also been trying hard to break through the 46th level, but for some reason, he is always a little short of it and cannot break through. Luckily, the Emperor is outside the 9 heavens. Otherwise, the current Hallyu Empire would probably have been named Emperor. Di Yang saw that things seemed to be turning around, and quickly said, "In fact, during the day, Guang Yun and I noticed something was wrong. This war happened inexplicably, and we suspected that someone was secretly fanning the flames, so we stopped in time and called off the troops. As for why Guang Yun died, after we separated, I have no idea who he met. He said these words to tell Yue Huang that Guang Yun was not killed by him. You have found the wrong person." By clearing up the relationship in time, and with the powerful deterrent power of Emperor Zun, Di Yang felt that he might not have to die tonight. Yue Huang was silent for a moment, turned his head, and looked at Nanfeng coldly. "You should know who is the mastermind behind all this, right?" "Of course I know." Nanfeng nodded, using the sound transmission technique, told Yue Huang some information about Siana. Of course, Nanfeng didn't mention anything like the Dream God, the Creator God, or the strongest chosen one 100,000 years ago, lest the Moon Emperor didn't believe him, and said that Nanfeng was bragging. "Suyana?" the Moon Emperor murmured in a low voice. "I didn't expect that there are such strong people in the world, who can silently influence other people's thoughts, mentality and emotions, and cause such a bloody war." He turned around and took a look at the battlefield at the border of the two countries in the distance. Under the white moonlight, the battlefield was so bright red and dazzling. "One day, I will find you and kill you with my own hands to avenge my dead people." After saying that, the Moon Emperor turned into a silver-white light. merged with the moonlight between heaven and earth, and fled towards the moon palace. Nefeng half opened his mouth, and just as he was about to speak, the moon emperor disappeared. No. Why are you running so fast? You must not go to find Suyana. She is not someone you can afford to offend. Unfortunately, the moon emperor could no longer hear what Nefeng said. De Jong looked at Nefeng twice, and slowly said, "Thank you, Lord of Nancheng, for your help today. I will report it to the emperor." "Oh, no need to thank me. I didn't plan to save you. I just didn't want Suyana's plan to go so smoothly." Nefeng waved his hand indifferently, and was about to leave. But suddenly his eyes turned, and he showed a sly smile. When De Jong saw this smile, his heart tightened, and he took 2 steps back. "What do you want to do? Don't be nervous. I'm a serious person." Nefeng smiled evilly. "Can you contact the emperor? Tell him that Suyana is here, and this is the last chance to kill her, and ask him to come quickly." De Jong pondered for a moment, and said, "I can take your words to the imperial palace, but I don't know when the emperor will come back from the sky." Nefeng looked down at the lucky amulet hanging around his neck. The amulet was covered with cracks, and it could fall into pieces at any time. Nefeng smiled slightly. "You can just convey my words to the imperial palace, and the emperor may have come back a long time ago." Chapter 695, I am also qualified to hold up the sky. After parting with De Jong, Nefeng rushed to Catherine's Dawn Town. Click, click. The lucky amulet, hanging on his chest, also completed its final mission at this time. Shattered into hundreds of pieces, and scattered in the sky. "Thank you," Nefeng said in his heart, the moment he saw the Moon Emperor appear at the border between the 2 countries. Nefeng finally understood what good luck the lucky amulet brought him. Falling from the top of the mountain, meeting the twins, meeting Suyana. These are not good luck, but complete bad luck, because Suyana is likely to kill Nefeng. In other words, today, Nefeng is only 1 step away from death. Very dangerous. Fortunately, whether it is because of Xiao Nan, or for some other reason, Suyana did not kill Nefeng in the end. After bad luck, there is good luck. After Suyana left, Nefeng was in a daze in the valley for some reason, until the moment before the Moon Emperor appeared in the evening. He came back to his senses. This is the good luck that the lucky amulet brought to him. Why is meeting the Moon Emperor good luck? Because at the moment of meeting the Moon Emperor, Nefeng suddenly figured out a lot of things. First, Suyana is definitely not as strong as she appears to be. In fact, she may not even have reached the strength of level 46. Assuming that Suyana is already level 46, would she still need to go to so much trouble to cause a war? She could directly kill the Moon Emperor, or control the Moon Emperor, and then start a war as the Moon Emperor. Isn't this 100 times simpler? So Nefeng judged that the current Suyana is not 100% sure that she can kill the Moon Emperor, so she has to use these little tricks. Realizing this, then Suyana's next plan is very clear. She killed Guanyin, and subtly influenced Yue Huang's mentality, wanting Yue Huang to kill De Jong, so that she could hide in the dark and secretly absorb De Jong's power. If De Jong died, how could Emperor Zun let Yue Huang go? When Emperor Zun killed Yue Huang, Suyana could absorb Yue Huang's power again. By then, Suyana should be able to break through level 46 and be on par with Emperor Zun. Even if she didn't reach level 46, it didn't matter, because if Emperor Zun killed Yue Huang, there would be an unprecedented war between the Falling Sun Empire and the Bright Moon Empire, and even the Wadika Empire would not be able to escape this disaster. If this world war happens, wouldn't that be exactly what Suyana wanted? Her goal is to refine the world. So when he saw the Moon Emperor was about to take action, Nefeng didn't care about the danger. He immediately rushed forward to stop him, and successfully saved De Jong. This is also the good luck brought by the lucky amulet. He saved De Jong, which is equivalent to saving the Moon Emperor, saving the Emperor, avoiding a world war, and preventing Suyana from refining the Chosen One and refining the world. It is equivalent to saving himself and saving everyone in Nancheng. This is the ultimate good luck. Nefeng just spent an afternoon in the valley for some unknown reason, and saved his future self. This is also the reason why the lucky amulet will be broken. It has used up all the good luck. Although I ruined Suyana's plan, she will definitely not stop like this. She will have a second plan, a third plan. What I did today just delayed some time. In the future, she will still find a way to refine this world. But with this buffer time, it's enough. At least I know that Sayana is not strong now. Maybe she is not sure she can kill me otherwise. In the valley, why didn't she attack me? She is getting stronger, I am getting stronger too. I may not be able to surpass her, I may not be able to stop her. If the sky falls, there are tall people to support it, but Long Woody is not the only tall man. I am also a tall man in the eyes of others. I am also qualified to hold up the sky for the people of Blue Star. In the sky, Nanfeng laughed loudly when he thought of this. Ha 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 ha, Sayana, so today in the valley, you want to plant a demon in my heart? It seems that you are also afraid of me. I am not as bad as you say. Although I don't know why you can absorb the power of the dead, but you want to refine the world, refine the chosen one. Nanfeng. Disagree. This game, I will play with you well. After laughing, Nanfeng pulled the speed to the extreme and rushed straight to the Dawn town. De Yong is not dead, Sayana will most likely change her target to Catherine. Nanfeng must take away all the chosen ones in Dawn town as soon as possible, and leave none for Sayana. He opened the panel, and quickly sent a message to Andre. Brother, how is Dawn town now? Nothing weird happened. Right? When he left Dawn town last time, Nanfeng smashed Andre's pocket watch with a palm, and asked him to stay in Dawn town as an insider. But Andre didn't send a message to Nanfeng in the past few days, which made Nanfeng wonder if Andre was hypnotized again. Fortunately, Andre quickly replied with a message, proving that he was still awake. The town is very peaceful. Nothing happened in the past 2 days. Nanfeng, have you been in contact with Catherine? Has she been hypnotized? Andre, I don't know. I don't know what her situation is now. I won't tell you. That idiot Edward asked us to go over for a meeting. Nanfeng, okay, be careful. I'm rushing to Dawn town. I'll take you away tonight. Andre, really? I've wanted to leave this damn place for a long time. You come quickly. Dawn town. Andre turned off the panel, looked around cautiously, and saw that no one was paying attention to him. Then he straightened his chest and walked towards the town square. Edward, that idiot, calls us to meetings every day, as if Dawn City belongs to him. Andre said in his heart, but the south wind is coming soon, and I can escape from this damn place tonight. God bless me. Andre. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from behind Andre. Andre turned his head, and saw Catherine holding a long sword behind him. Kai. Ahem, my queen, good evening. Andre bowed slightly, and said respectfully, well, the meeting is about to start, let's go. Catherine said, passing by Andre and strode towards the square. Andre exhaled softly and followed. In the dark, Edward looked at Andre's departing back with cold eyes. He just wanted to call the queen by her real name. A trace of doubt flashed through Edward's mind. Is he not hypnotized? This is impossible. Someone. A chosen one heard Edward's call, strode over, knelt on the ground. Respected Lord Edward, what do you want me to do? Edward said, a few days ago, Nanfeng came to the town. Did he spend time with Andre alone? The chosen one kneeling on the ground thought for a moment, shook his head and said, no, Nanfeng has been under our surveillance. Except? Edward, except what? The chosen one continued, except that when Nanfeng left the town, Andre sent him to the town entrance. But we have been secretly monitoring him and did not find anything unusual. Is that so? Edward nodded silently and said, I see, let's go, and go to the meeting. Today, I have something very important to announce. Chapter 696. The people of the city are grateful. Late at night, above Nanjiang City, above the clouds, there is a world-shaking battle that has been going on since daytime. You old man, it's hard to kill. Long Woody flashed behind the old man and broke one of his vertebrae with a dragon fist. The old man spit out a mouthful of turbid blood. He stared at Xiao Luo in front of him with bloodshot eyes. Die! The old man turned a blind eye to Long Woody, who injured him, and instead punched Xiao Luo hard. There was nothing he could do about it. In this 10-hour battle, the old man was horrified to find that he could not break Long Woody's defense at all. No matter how powerful his killing moves were, it was just like tickling Long Woody. So he could only vent his anger on Xiao Luo. The old man knew that he could not escape today, so his idea was very simple, that was to drag Xiao Luo to death together, so that he would have a companion on the road to the underworld. But Xiao Luo, how could he be killed so easily? The sharp blade light cut through the sky, and slashed toward Xiao Luo's neck. This knife can hit. A hint of joy flashed in the old man's eyes. This knife is the fastest knife he has ever swung in his life. Xiao Luo had no time to dodge this powerful knife. This knife cuts on his neck. If he doesn't die, he will be seriously injured. Swish! Just as the old man thought, this knife cuts off Xiao Luo's neck. Ha ha, want to kill me, without paying a little price, huh? The old man laughed, but before he could be happy for 2 seconds, he saw Xiao Luo's body turn into stars, floating in the air. Split doppel? The old man's face changed drastically. The chosen one he just killed turned out to be just a clone? No wonder he always felt that the damage of this chosen one was a little low. However, this clone had been fighting with him for most of the day, and he couldn't tell it apart at all. It was really scary. Bang! Another dull loud noise. Long Woody charged a punch, and broke another section of the old man's spine. Wow! The old man spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face showed pain. You are really tough, even more resistant to beating than the beasts of the same level. Long Woody shook his hands, walked in the air, and walked towards the old man. A figure flew up from under the clouds. This was Xiao Luo's other clone. Long Woody said helplessly, Brother Xiao, can't you come here in person? Hurry up and end this old man's life. I don't want to fight him anymore. Xiao Luo's clone smiled enthusiastically and said, This old man is your prey. I won't compete with you for experience. And this old man is really tough. Even if I come in person, I can't cut him hard. You should solve it yourself. I will help you to restrain him. Seeing that these two people didn't take him seriously at all, the old man showed a fierce look on his face. Two little kids. You really don't respect your elders. I said, even if I die today, I will drag someone down with me. Long Woody pointed at himself. Who will take the blame for you? Me. He pointed at Xiao Luo again, or this clone? The old man's mouth twitched. He couldn't beat Long Woody, and it was useless to kill that clone. The pain from his back made the old man a little dazed. His spine was broken in several sections, and he could no longer stand up straight. I'm going to die soon. This sentence flashed through the old man's mind. His eyes became more and more ferocious. Since he was going to die anyway, he might as well do something big. Even if he died, he couldn't let these chosen ones have an easy time. Kill! The old man shouted, and charged straight at Long Woody. But the result was obvious. In his prime, he was no match for Long Woody, let alone now. Within 100 moves, the old man was completely defeated, and his neck was crushed by Long Woody. The old man's pupils dilated. He was weak all over, and could no longer fly, and fell softly from the air. Long Woody exhaled, finally killed him. I was so tired of beating him. No! Long Woody suddenly realized something was wrong, and swooped down, heading straight for the old man. Outside Nanjiang City, Xiao Luo, who was sitting cross-legged on a boulder, had a slightly stiff expression. He looked up at the sky, and the old man was falling faster and faster. Xiao Luo could feel the terrifying magic power in the old man's body surging wildly. He wants to self-destruct? His self-destruction was not directed at Long Woody, nor was it directed at Xiao Luo. It's aimed at the South Xinjiang city. This old man want the people in the city of southern Xinjiang. Give him back. Go! Xiao Luo drank a low. The remaining avatars flew into the air. List the knife. Knife array. Rise. Countless knife light to the old man. Xiao Luo's idea is very simple. That is to let this old man explode in the air. Try not to spread to southern Xinjiang. Don't spread to the people in the city. Unfortunately, Xiao Luo lowered the power of the 45 level strong. The knife gas will unload the old man with 8 pieces, still unable to stop him from exploring himself. With the old man as the center, the surging magic power formed a terrifying circular energy wave, which spread in all directions. Crackling. The space shattered, and the world trembled. Nanjiang City was right below the explosion. Before the energy wave arrived, the terrifying power had already knocked the people in the city unconscious. Those who had a little strength and could still stay awake all looked terrified, looking at the light ball formed by the explosion in the sky. There were only 2 words in their minds. It's over. Even the chosen ones in Dragon City felt that they were doomed this time. The energy wave was so fast that they didn't even have time to teleport away. Don't explode? A loud shout sounded in the air. Endless true energy quickly surged out of Long Woody's body. These true energy were like an invisible net, constantly expanding, and expanding again. Finally, the true energy net completely wrapped the energy wave. Boom! An explosion sounded that only Long Woody could hear. His face turned pale in an instant. Blood gushed out of his 7 orifices. His eyes went black, and he fell from the sky. This was the first time that Long Woody had been injured so badly since he traveled through time. Normally, even if the old man blew himself up close to his face, Long Woody would not be injured so badly, because the energy of the self-explosion spreads in all directions. Long Woody only needs to use his true chi to protect his body, and at most spit out a few mouthfuls of blood, to be able to bear it. But this time, in order to protect the Chosen One in the city and the civilians in the city, Long Woody used his true chi to wrap up all the energy generated by the explosion. This is equivalent to a level 45 warrior self-destructing in his body. Even the extremely powerful Long Woody could not withstand this terrifying blow and fainted directly. Swish! One of Xiao Luo's clones flew quickly, caught Long Woody in the air, and landed slowly. Flying Eagle, Mad Wolf, Black Dog and others rushed over at the first time. Quick! Summon all the nurses. Come and save people. Healing Rain, Light of Life, Dragon Army Chief, wake up! Countless Dragon City Chosen Ones rushed over from all directions, with anxious expressions on their faces. Xiao Luo quietly retreated. He had checked. Long Woody was seriously injured, but he was not dead yet. There was no need to worry. The streets were full of weak civilians lying in all directions. They were all stunned by the energy fluctuations at the beginning of the explosion. At this time, some people had woken up one after another. They learned what had just happened from other people. They all looked in the direction of Long Woody with a pious look, praying that Long Woody could wake up. At this time, Xiao Luo's mind flashed with a sentence. The people of the whole city are grateful. Chapter 697. It's time for me to go out for a walk. Late at night, in the Falling Sun Empire, the Imperial Palace, the white-haired Tian Yuan staggered towards the secret room in the back garden of the Imperial Palace. He seemed to have reached the age of old age, with a pale face, wrinkles all over his face, and he would cough heavily every few steps. His white pupils became more and more turbid, and he was no longer as high-spirited as when Nen Feng first saw him. Cough, cough, cough. Tian Yuan walked to a rockery with difficulty, stretched out his thin and sallow right hand, and gently knocked on the rockery 3 times. The rockery made a harsh sound, and a door opened, revealing a narrow passage behind. Tian Yuan coughed twice again, and walked in slowly. In this secret room, there was a powerful being, flipping through various ancient books. Seeing Tian Yuan coming, he raised his head slightly and whispered, "Teacher, do you want to see me?" "Greetings, Emperor." Tian Yuan was about to kneel down tremblingly. A gentle force dragged Tian Yuan's body, helped him to the chair next to him, and sat down to rest. "Teacher, why do you need to bow to me?" The Emperor put down the ancient book in his hand, came to Tian Yuan, squatted slightly. "Your health is getting worse and worse. Isn't my royal treasure house open to you? Why don't you contract a new life weapon? Haven't you found a suitable one?" Tian Yuan smiled bitterly, shook his head gently and said, "Thank you for your concern, but my heart is broken, and I can't contract a life weapon again." The Emperor's eyes condensed. During this time, he has been reading ancient books in this secret room, and he didn't care about the outside world, and he didn't know about this matter. I didn't expect Tian Yuan's Dao heart to be broken. Di Yuan's death is still a huge blow to him. If he can't recontract his lifelong magic weapon, Tian Yuan can't break through level 40 again, and his life will be almost over. The Emperor suddenly realized that, after Di Yuan, his teacher Tian Yuan will also leave him soon. "Emperor, my Dao heart is broken, not because of Di Yuan." As if seeing what the Emperor was thinking, Tian Yuan explained, "During the time you were in seclusion, I have been paying attention to the movements of the southern part of the empire, that is, the group of Chosen Ones. Those Chosen Ones are very powerful. They are very good at managing cities and developing the economy. Under their management, the people live and work in peace and contentment, and are 100 times happier. It took them only a few months to make remote and backward cities such as Blackwater City and Whitewater City extremely prosperous, even as good as the imperial capital." At this point, Tian Yuan smiled bitterly. "Our Sunfall Empire has developed for tens of thousands of years, but it was so easily surpassed by this group of outsiders. I don't accept it. So it was because of this reason that the teacher's Taoism was hit." Emperor Zun slowly said, "Teacher, don't be sad. No matter how beautiful the city is, without a strong force to guard it, it will be like a dream. I will destroy them right now." "No, Emperor." Tian Yuan stretched out his dry hand, stopped. "Emperor, I came here this time, Not to ask you to kill those chosen ones, but to tell you that we should learn from them. I had learned from them. Emperor sneered. Learn from those chosen ones? Do they have the qualifications? Emperor, the chosen ones have a saying, take the essence and discard the dross. Tian Yuan coughed twice and said, even if those chosen ones are full of bad habits, there are still things we can learn from them. I remember you said before that. People's hearts are the key to your breakthrough to level 47. Learning the management model of the chosen ones may help you. Hearing this, Emperor put away his contempt just now and became serious. After reaching level 46, the Emperor could truly feel that the people's support had greatly improved his strength. If the management model of the chosen one could help him win the hearts of the people, then the Emperor would not mind learning it. Ahem. There is one more thing. Tian Yuan coughed twice and continued. During this period, at the border between our country and the Halyu Empire, the two armies fought several times, with heavy casualties, especially in the past 3 days. More than 100,000 soldiers of our army died on the battlefield. The Emperor frowned slightly. Halyu Empire? Humph. The Moon Emperor thought that I was still in the sky and wanted to go to war with my country? No wonder I felt that my strength had been declining in the past 2 days. It turned out that the people in the country were dissatisfied with me. I am not satisfied with your inaction. Tian Yuan said, I should have reported this to you a long time ago. But I felt something was wrong. The Moon Emperor is not a warlike person. And you have already broken through level 46. How dare he go to war with our country? Sure enough. Just now, Zhendong King Deyang used the sound transmission technique to convey all the strange things in this war to the Imperial Palace. Then, Tian Yuan told the Emperor all the things that happened at the border between the two countries recently, including the pocket watch cult, Guanyun's death, the Moon Emperor's personal visit to the border between the two countries, and various speculations about the mastermind behind the scenes. Of course, Tian Yuan repeated what Nanfeng said word for word. The Emperor stood up and paced back and forth in the secret room, his brain spinning rapidly. The mastermind behind the war between the two countries is the Dream God? Why do I not believe it? Even I have lost interest in ruling the world. As a powerful creator god more than 100,000 years ago, she is still keen on such childish things? Could it be that Nanfeng is deceiving me? In fact, this is a trap set by him and the Dream God, just to lure me over? But the Emperor is extremely confident in his own strength after all. Even if this is a trap, he will go. If it is true as Nanfeng said, this is the last chance to kill the Dream God Sayana, then he will definitely not miss this opportunity. Even if this is a trap, he is confident that he can escape unscathed. And he has another reason to go. That is, Nanfeng is also at the border between the two countries. Emperor Zun can feel that Tianyuan's lifespan is almost over, and he must kill Nanfeng with his own hands before Tianyuan dies. Avenge Tiyuan, and let Tianyuan die with peace of mind. It's time for me to go out for a walk. Otherwise the villains in this world will forget my reputation. The border between the two countries. Nanfeng, who was flying rapidly towards the town of Liming, suddenly shuddered. Hiss! Why do I suddenly feel cold all over? Can I be frozen with my strength? Nanfeng rubbed his hands, used magic to protect his body, and resisted the surrounding cold. His eyes looked at the horizon in the distance, where there was a small town with a little fire. That is Dawn Town. In Dawn Town, most of the chosen ones are in a state of hypnosis. It can be said that these people are already Sayana's backup hidden energy. If Nanfeng takes them all away today, it means that he is completely hostile to Sayana, and there is no chance of easing. But Nanfeng has no fear in his heart. No matter how strong Sayana was in the past, at least now, her strength is not much different from Nanfeng's. The strength is almost the same. Why should I be afraid of you? Chapter 698 Hypnosis Array. Dawn Town. This town was originally named Jiji Town, and is located at the junction of the Falling Sun Empire and the Bright Moon Empire. After the conflict between the two countries escalated, the residents of the town were afraid of being affected by the war, and they packed up their belongings and moved away. At this time, Catherine brought a large number of Dawn City chosen ones, walked out of the fog, wanting to find a place to stay in the outside world. The first person to discover Jiji Town was Edward. This town is surrounded by mountains and water, the land is fertile, and the key is that there is no one in the town, which is a very good base. Catherine did not hesitate and decided to base Dawn City here. Of course, this was just a temporary base. When the time was right, Catherine would definitely go with Nanfeng and Long Woody to find a city to occupy. However, after moving to Pinji Town, Catherine found that the chosen ones around her gradually became abnormal. Some chosen ones meditated all day. Some liked to look up at the stars. And some would stare blankly when no one was around, living like a human machine. The strangest thing is that the chosen in the town all began to call her queen one after another. Before this, only Edward and a small number of chosen would call her that. Other chosen would call her Catherine, goddess or city lord. This strange phenomenon made Catherine suddenly realize that her group of chosen had been tricked. They were hypnotized by Sikongbushua. Catherine tried to take her men away from the town. But these chosen who obeyed her orders refused to obey the order to leave the town. The chosen here are the backbone of Dawn City. And Catherine cannot abandon them and leave alone. She can only pretend that nothing happened and continue to stay in Boomtown, looking for a chance to escape. The opportunity came quickly. That day, when her pet was patrolling outside, it accidentally discovered a handsome guy flying freely in the sky. Catherine realized that the opportunity had come. Time goes back to the present. The full moon is in the sky, and all the chosen in Dawn Town have gathered in the square in the center of the town. A huge bonfire was lit in the middle of the square. The chosen ones stood in several circles around the bonfire, whispering something with a pious look on their faces. What are these guys mumbling about? Andre thought to himself. In order not to appear too strange, Andre also imitated the others, muttering piously, South wind, come soon. South wind, come soon. Andre did not wait for the south wind, but for Edward, who looked very proud. Edward strode to the center of the square and slowly raised his hands. At the same time, the chosen ones around all knelt on one knee and lowered their heads. Andre was stunned for a moment, and quickly knelt on one knee. But as soon as he knelt, the chosen ones around him stood up again, saying in unison, Welcome to the Guardian. Andre, what kind of shabby cult is this? Why are there so many problems? The key is that Andre has no idea what others will do next. It feels like they didn't bring Andre with them during the rehearsal. This is isolation. This is bullying. The only thing that made Andre feel at ease was that Catherine was also isolated. He secretly glanced at Catherine not far away, only to see that Catherine had a calm face, staring blankly at the bonfire, not knowing what she was thinking. Catherine should not be hypnotized. This was Andre's judgment. Not only because of Catherine's current performance, but also because on the day when Nanfeng left the town, when Andre went to find Catherine, he subconsciously wanted to call her by her real name. But Catherine interrupted him, and asked him to call her queen. The town was full of Sikongbushua spies. Once Andre called out the name Catherine, he would be hypnotized again. So, Catherine was protecting him at that time. But there was one thing Andre couldn't figure out. Since Catherine was not hypnotized, why didn't she run away? Didn't she know it was dangerous here? Andre glanced at the people around him with the corner of his eyes, and suddenly understood something. Catherine. She must be worried about the chosen ones here. Right? What a good boss with a conscience. Andre sighed. Suddenly, his eyes met Edward, who was full of vigor. Edward laughed and said, It's really interesting. Nanfeng has helped you get rid of the hypnotic state. Why are you still staying here? Waiting to die? Andre took off the big shield behind him, held it tightly in front of him, and said in a muffled voice, Wait to see you die. Edward laughed, My friend. You are really humorous. There are hundreds of chosen ones here. They all obey my orders. Do you think you can beat them? Edward's direct showdown did not hide Catherine's plan at all, which gave Andre a bad premonition. Tonight, I'm afraid it won't be easy. I can't beat so many people, but they can't beat Catherine either. Right? Andre strode to Catherine's side, which made him feel a little safer. Catherine, who was level 45, had the absolute strength to kill everyone present. This was one of the reasons why Andre dared to stay here. You are right. The queen is very powerful. Even the leader cannot hypnotize her, Edward said. But queen, are you really willing to kill them? They have been hypnotized. As long as I say a word, they will obey you. Even if you ask them to die immediately, they will not hesitate at all, let alone betray you. Are you really willing to kill all such perfect warriors? Catherine's cold eyes slowly turned, locked on Edward's face, and whispered, Let your leader come out. You are no longer qualified to talk to me. Edward, who was smiling, froze. Catherine's words really hurt his heart. In fact, he did not lie just now. As long as Catherine said a word, He was really willing to make all the chosen here submit to Catherine, including himself. But now, Edward looked at Catherine's flawless figure and her cold and domineering face, and licked his lips with a wicked smile. Catherine, this is your own decision. Don't blame me. Edward raised his hands fiercely, and the chosen in the square took out a silver-white pocket watch in unison as if they had received an order. Hundreds of pocket watches burst into a cold light, as if forming some kind of formation, surrounding Catherine, Andre, and Edward in the middle of the square. Chapter 699. No one can control me. Andre felt dizzy. His eyes gradually lost focus, and he kept muttering words that outsiders could not hear. Just a glance, and Andre was hypnotized. Even Catherine was in a trance, with double vision in front of her eyes, and she was staggering and almost fell. What a terrifying hypnosis! Catherine was shocked. She thought that the current Sikong Bushua could not hypnotize her, so she boldly stayed here. Unexpectedly, she still underestimated Sikong Bushua's power. We must break this strange formation. Catherine bit her lip lightly, and suddenly pulled out the holy light sword. Catherine, are you going to kill them? Edward's bewitching voice came into her ears. They are also innocent, aren't they? This sentence made Catherine, who was already in a trance, hesitate for a moment. If it were before, she would definitely swing the sword without hesitation and break the formation. But she had stayed in this small town for too long. During this period, Sikong Bushua had been influencing her subtly. She gradually ignored the tactical watch and stopped communicating with the outside world. Her vigilance was slowly decreasing, and she was confident that Sikong Bushua could not hypnotize her. She was increasingly worried about these men, and had an obsession in her heart to bring them all home. All these seemingly insignificant details were the reasons why Catherine fell into danger tonight. Oh no! Catherine's thoughts were erratic, and darkness was slowly swallowing up the scenery in front of her, as if she had fallen into an endless abyss. At the last moment when she was about to lose her mind, Catherine used her last strength to shout, "Na Feng, are you coming yet?" "I'm coming." Nanfeng's voice came from the horizon. "Can't you hold on for a little longer? I haven't found Sikong Bushua yet." Hearing this voice, Edward's face changed drastically, and he looked up at the sky in horror. In the dark night sky, a snow-white eagle flapped its wings and flew from a distance. Na Feng was standing on the eagle's back. He estimated the distance and felt that it was about time. So he jumped off the eagle's back decisively. Grand debut. Boom! Na Feng landed on the edge of the square with a boom, and then slid into the field, knocking away 17 or 18 hypnotized chosen ones, and came to Edward's face. "Hello, Shabi." Na Feng stood up and faced Edward face to face, with a distance of no more than 10 centimeters between them. Under Edward's horrified gaze, Na Feng used his iron head skill to send Edward flying 70 to 80 meters away. His nose bone, frontal bone, upper jaw, lower jaw were all smashed to pieces, and there was not a single tooth left in his mouth, scattered all over the ground. Swish! A flash of sword-light passed by, chasing Edward, chopped off his 2 legs. Edward let out a miserable cry. Nanfeng's sliding tackle just now sent more than a dozen people flying, breaking the hypnotic formation, allowing Catherine to regain consciousness. This sword was slashed by Catherine. What a pity! If you could hold on for another 3 or 5 minutes, it would be Sikong Bushua who was screaming now. Na Feng shook his head with a little regret. "I was the one who held him back," Catherine said coldly. She thought she was careful enough, but she was still tricked inadvertently. Sikong Bushua's hypnosis was too scary. "You can deal with these people by yourself. I will go find Sikong Bushua." Na Feng did not say much to Catherine, but floated into the air and rushed to the east of the town. Na Feng had searched the south, west, and north of the town carefully when he was in the sky just now, but he did not find any trace of Sikong Bushua. If Sikong Bushua came today, he could only be in the east of the town. Sikong Bushua must be nearby. Otherwise it would be impossible to hypnotize Catherine, who is level 45, with just that broken hypnosis formation. Na Feng was very sure. And, if Nanfeng's guess was correct, Suyana was most likely still staying near the battlefield where the 2 countries were fighting and had not come over. Tonight is the perfect time to kill Sikong Bushua. Nanfeng's ears were erected like antennas, listening carefully to the sounds within a radius of 50 miles. The sound of falling leaves, breathing, footsteps, heartbeats, no sound could escape Nanfeng's ears. But Nanfeng's face gradually darkened. No one. To the east of the town, there were only a few beasts, no one. Impossible. Sikong Bushua doesn't have a teleportation array, he can't run so fast. Nefong gritted his teeth and continued to fly forward quickly. On the other side, in Dawn Town, Andre, who was drowsy, shook his head vigorously. Just now. What happened? He had not yet fully recovered. Come and help. Catherine's cold voice reached Andre's ears. Andre tried to open his eyes and saw Catherine was chopping the pocket watches one by one. Help. Oh. Okay. Andre walked towards Catherine with 1 foot deep and 1 foot shallow. He raised the huge shield in his hand high and smashed it hard against Catherine's head. Shield attack. This fierce attack did not cause any harm to Catherine. Instead, Andre was shot back several steps by the reaction force. Catherine frowned slightly, turned her head and looked at Andre. You? Ha! A loud shout rang in Catherine's ears, and a chosen one holding a big hammer hit Catherine's back hard. Boom! Catherine didn't even turn her head, and kicked the chosen one dozens of meters away with a back kick. At this time, even though Catherine's head was still a little dizzy, she also reacted. Sikong Bushua. It turns out that you have been in the town all the time. Catherine whispered softly. It's a bit too late to react now. In a wooden house on the east side of the square. Sikong Bushua smiled, opened the door and walked out. He walked towards Catherine blatantly. Catherine raised the holy light sword, wanting to kill Sikong Bushua with one sword. But she couldn't do it. There was a voice in her heart saying, You can't kill. You can't kill. You can't kill this person. I must kill. Catherine overcame the strong psychological suggestion deep in her heart, stared at Sikong Bushua with cold eyes, and slashed with a sword. The sword light that could cut through everything easily cut Sikong Bushua in half. But Catherine was not happy at all, because she heard Sikong Bushua's voice coming from behind her. Take a good look. Who did you kill? Catherine shook her head, trying to make herself more sober. She looked at the man who had just been cut in half by her sword, and her body trembled. It was Andre, the strongest shield of Dawn City, was killed by her sword. I told you. You can't kill. You can't kill. But you insisted on killing. Sikong Bushua's teasing voice sounded again. Do you think your will is strong enough to resist my hypnosis? Then you underestimate me. Sikong Bushua. Sikong Bushua's voice was like a demonic sound, constantly devouring Catherine's reason. Her will was sinking bit by bit, falling into the abyss. Sikong Bushua chuckled and said, Nafong. That idiot will probably guess that I'm in the town soon. But when he comes back, you will be completely hypnotized by me and become my puppet. Ha! I don't know who will win in a fight between you and Nafong. It's really exciting. Catherine's heart sank. Sikong Bushua wanted to use her to deal with Nafong. If she and Nafong both suffered losses, Nafong would probably be hypnotized by Sikong Bushua. No! This must not happen. Catherine fought with the last bit of her sanity, holding the holy light sword tightly with both hands, and slashed with a standard sword. This was an unstoppable sword. Catherine didn't care if Sikong Bushua was in front, behind, on the left, or on the right. With this sword, she would clear the field. At this moment, she no longer cared about the life and death of her men. She wanted to kill all the chosen ones in the town together. No one can control me. No one can. This was Catherine's last thought before she lost her mind. Chapter 700. My confidence comes from myself. Catherine's full-strength sword directly flattened the entire town. Nafong, who had already flown very far, felt the terrifying power of this sword. Damn! I made a mistake. Nafong slapped his forehead and turned around and flew back to the town. No wonder Sikong Bushua couldn't be found around the town. It turned out that he was hiding in the town. Sure enough, the most dangerous place is the safest place. This is true. There are hundreds of chosen ones in the town. Nafong can't check them one by one. In addition, Nafong always felt that Sikong Bushua was an extremely cautious person, so he never thought that he would hide in the town. He actually dared to hide in the town, so close to Catherine. This is not in line with Sikong Bushua's style. Could it be that Suyana also came? So Sikong Bushua is fearless? These thoughts flashed through Nafeng's mind. Before he thought about it, his terrifying eyesight had already seen the scene in the town far away. The town was like a ruin, with blood and flesh. Catherine's sword almost cut all the chosen ones in the town in half. Only a few lucky ones escaped, such as Edward, who was lying on the ground screaming, and Andre, who was missing a small part of his body for some reason. Has Catherine also been hypnotized? This tragic scene made Na Feng frown. He couldn't imagine, if one day, he was also hypnotized by Sikong Bushua, how terrible the firepower coverage would be, how desperate would be. Even if Soyana was here today, I would find a chance to kill Sikong Bushua. Nanfeng's eyes were locked on a smiling man sitting in the ruins. Level 44. Sikong Bushua was only level 44. I might even kill him with one shot. Thinking of this, Na Feng suddenly took out the laser cannon. The energy tank emitted a deadly red light, and a scorching beam rushed straight to Sikong Bushua. Scorching sun beam cannon. It was a big move at the beginning. Na Feng didn't even think about leaving Sikong Bushua way out, but Sikong Bushua just smiled, and didn't move. Holy Cross. In the square, Catherine's sword blade burst into dazzling golden light, and swung out a cross of holy light to intercept the scorching light head-on. Want to use Catherine to deal with me? Do you think this is before level 30? Before level 30, when they were still in World No. 9, Nanfeng's combat power was indeed slightly inferior to Catherine's. But now, Nanfeng's strength has already crushed Catherine. Boom! The holy cross was broken, and the red light continued to rush towards Sikong Bushua. But Catherine, whose eyes were distracted, suddenly dodged and stood in front of Sikong Bushua. Nanfeng's eyes condensed, and he moved the muzzle of the gun to the side a few millimeters. The beam cut off a strand of Catherine's black hair, and the black hair slowly floated into the sky with the breeze. Na Feng put away the laser cannon, flew to the town at the fastest speed, and landed on the square. He glanced at Catherine, then glanced at Sikong Bushua behind Catherine, and finally looked at Andre. Andre had a very serious sword wound on his body. This sword slashed straight down from his right shoulder, cutting off all the ribs on the right side, and even cutting his right leg in half. Although this sword cut Andre's body in half, he was not dead. He still had the strength to seal the wound with magic power to prevent his intestines from being scattered everywhere. The severe pain made Andre regain consciousness. He looked at Na Feng with pleading eyes, and spoke incoherently. Na Feng glanced at Catherine, and seeing that she didn't seem to have any intention of attacking, he strode towards Andre, and stuffed a handful of qi and blood fruit into his mouth. What are you mumbling about? Let's go! Na Feng grabbed Andre's collar with one hand, and threw him out of the town. After thinking for a while, Na Feng took 2 steps forward, picked up the other half of Andre's body and threw it out. Na Feng was not worried about Andre. Andre had thick skin and strong vitality, and he would not die from this injury. As long as he was given some time to recover, he could crawl back. Not to mention that he had a teleportation array. And me, too. Save me. Beside him, a weak voice came into Nanfeng's ears. Na Feng turned around, and saw that it was Edward who had lost his legs. Edward begged pitifully, if you fight, I will wash it. Without teeth, air leaking from his mouth, Edward couldn't even speak clearly. But he still used all his strength, putting his hope on the extremely annoying Na Feng in front of him, wanting to survive. This is the fate of keyboard warriors. Na Feng shook his head gently, without looking at him more. There is a price to pay for talking nonsense online. As early as the 9th world, Edward had targeted the Dragon Country War Zone many times, and ridiculed, provoked, and insulted Na Feng in various ways. If it wasn't for Catherine's face, Na Feng has already made him a long time. Can you wait until now? I still want to save his life when Na Feng can save him? Na Feng was not so good. Sisters, you have killed a lot of people. It's time to wake up. Na Feng ignored Edward. It's slowly walking towards Catherine, calmly open. Concentrated spirit, don't let your will sink all the time. I believe you can wake up. Catherine's eyes have a little focus, but soon scattered. Behind Catherine, Sikong Bushua chuckled and said, It's useless. I spent 2 whole months hypnotizing her. Unless I die, she won't wake up. Really? That's quite a coincidence. Na Feng tilted his head slightly, looking at Sikong Bushua. I didn't want you to live today. Walking like a dragon and a tiger. Na Feng used his body skills, and quickly approached Sikong Bushua. Catherine also moved at the same time, and the holy sword in her hand pointed directly at Nanfeng's face. Na Feng drew out the demon dismemberer with his backhand, and started fighting with Catherine. You know, I'm always cautious. Sikong Bushua, who was watching the battle, chuckled. If I wasn't absolutely sure I could leave alive, I wouldn't show up. Leave alive? Who gave you the confidence? Catherine. Who was hypnotized by you? Snake swim. Na Feng dodged Catherine's sword at a strange angle. And then, Demon Dismemberer was placed in front of him. And he shouted, "Focus!" Catherine's attack paused for a moment. And Na Fong seized the opportunity, and slapped her several meters away with a tiger palm. At this moment, Na Fong displayed his body movements, sword techniques, and palm techniques to the fullest. Sikong Bushue, who was standing by, was shocked. He did not expect that after not seeing him for a long time, Nanfeng's close combat ability could easily suppress Catherine. Na Fong sneered, "Do you really think that the devilish training you, Nan, had done some time ago was a joke?" Leopard attack. Nanfeng's speed increased to the extreme in an instant, and he rushed towards Sikong Bushue. Tick-tock. At the same time, Sikong Bushue opened his pocket watch, and the pointer began to move. The magic sound was continuous and endless. At such a close distance, Sikong Bushue's hypnotic power reached its maximum power. Na Fong only felt dizzy. The scenery in front of him kept changing. The Great Wall appeared. The Sphinx appeared. And the Eiffel Tower appeared. Sikong Bushue's voice sounded in Nanfeng's ears. "My confidence never comes from others, but from myself." Chapter 701. I already know the ending of tonight. Head heavy, dizzy, unconscious. This is what Na Fong is thinking now. But these messy negative states did not affect the knife that Na Fong swung at all. Sikong Bushue is one level lower than Na Fong, so the hypnosis effect is greatly reduced. In addition, during the day, Suyana tried to plant a demon in Nanfeng's heart, but not only did it fail, but it made Nanfeng's thoughts more clear. And Na Fong was wearing tactical headphones. These various things added up, reduced the hypnosis effect to the extreme. Na Fong almost didn't stop. Under Sikong Bushue's horrified gaze, he cut open his belly with one knife. Ugh! Sikong Bushue screamed heartbreakingly. This scream also made the messy scene in front of Na Fong disappear. And he saw the reality clearly again. What a pity. Na Fong felt a little regretful. This knife didn't cut the joints. Otherwise, Sikong Bushue might be dismembered directly. Even so, this knife still scared Sikong Bushue. A fragile man. He kept fiddling with the pocket watch in his hand. His forehead was sweating, and he was visibly panicked. Your pocket watch? It seems not as powerful as before? Na Fong glanced at the pocket watch in Sikong Bushue's hand, realized something, and almost laughed out loud. Huh? Your pocket watch is also a replica. That's right. I killed you once before, and your life-defining magic weapon was gone at that time. Without my life-defining magic weapon, I can still beat you. Sikong Bushue's face flashed with anger, and the magic power in his body rushed into the pocket watch crazily. Behind Na Fong, Catherine also broke free and attacked again. But Catherine seemed to have regained some consciousness, and was trying to seize control of her body. Her sword moves were hesitant, and could not bring any pressure to Na Fong. In just a few seconds, Na Fong cut Sikong Bushue twice more, and successfully dismembered his right arm. His right arm, along with the pocket watch, fell to the ground. Ah! Sikong Bushue screamed again. He gasped heavily, staring at Na Fong fiercely. So it's so easy to kill you? I even suspected that I was hypnotized by you. And everything I see now is an illusion. Na Fong looked at Sikong Bushue calmly. But my reason tells me that you can't hypnotize me, so everything that happens now is real. Seeing that Sikong Bushue had no intention of escaping, Na Fong couldn't help but sigh. Seeing that you are so fearless, Suyana should be around here too? No wonder. Sikong Bushue sneered. I said, I won't show up without the absolute certainty of survival. Who wakes up first from the big dream? A deep and crisp female voice echoed in the town. This is the voice of the dream god Suyana. The wounds on Sikong Bushue had disappeared instantly, as if Na Fong had never hit him. To be honest, I did underestimate your strength. Sikong Bushue, who was full of energy again, smiled confidently. But with the dream god here, you can never kill me. And I can use you as a whetstone, so that I can break through level 45 in life and death battles. In fact, this is my main purpose tonight. Break through level 45? Na Fong lowered his head and pondered for a moment, sneered and shook his head, and said with emotion, Sikong Bushue. Tick-tick. Sikong Bushue activated his pocket watch. He didn't want to say anything more to Na Fong. He just wanted to kill Na Fong now, to avenge the few slashes just now, but he underestimated Nanfeng's will. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't hypnotize Na Fong at all. 1 slash, 2 slashes, 3 slashes, Na Fong dismembered Sikong Bushue again. Who will wake up first? Suyana's cold voice sounded, and Sikong Bushua recovered again. Nefong kicked the dazed Catherine away, and rushed forward to dismember Sikong Bushua for the third time. Big dream. The same plot is constantly repeating itself. With Suyana, no matter how badly Sikong Bushua is injured, he can recover to his peak in an instant. Why can't my hypnosis affect you at all? After being killed by Nanfeng dozens of times, Sikong Bushua roared in anger. A trace of pity flashed in Nanfeng's eyes, and he said, "Because I already know the ending of tonight." Looking at Nanfeng's eyes full of pity, Sikong Bushua was a little exasperated. This look. As if looking at a dying person. You look down on me too much. With the dream god here, you will definitely be the one to die tonight. Suddenly, Sikong Bushua calmed down. At this moment, he seized the opportunity to break through level 45. At the same time, Nefong suddenly pulled back. During the fight just now, Nefong kicked Catherine out of the town with 2 kicks. At this time, Nefong carried Catherine outside the town and flew away. Catherine stays. Suyana's voice came from all directions. In the sky, a big hand tore open the space and reached towards Nefong. Ice beam cannon. Nefong fired a cannon into the sky and shouted, "You still want to eat both? Are you too greedy?" Frost covered the big hand, freezing it for a few seconds. Nefong seized this opportunity and fled quickly. In the town, Sikong Bushua, who was breaking through, heard Nanfeng's words, and his heart trembled violently. Pictures flashed through his mind. Nanfeng's sigh. Nanfeng's compassionate eyes. Nanfeng's words. "Because I already know the ending of tonight." Sikong Bushua broke out in a cold sweat, soaking his clothes. He understood what Nanfeng meant by the ending of tonight. Suyana's goal tonight was not only Catherine, but also him who had broken through level 45. "No, this is impossible, I helped her so much." Sikong Bushua's mind was filled with all kinds of messy thoughts. He was panicked, he was terrified. His rising breath suddenly stopped, and he fell back to level 44. Sikong Bushua. The breakthrough failed. Who? Good. This is good? Level 44 energy. Suyana doesn't like it. I won't die tonight. Sikong Bushua panted heavily. He was extremely grateful that he failed to break through and saved his life. In the sky, a graceful figure slowly floated and landed in front of Sikong Bushua. It was Suyana. Sikong Bushua forced himself to cheer up and smiled. "Where is Catherine? Did you catch her?" Suyana shook her head slightly. Nefong ran too fast. It would take a lot of time to catch up with him. She didn't say the second half of the sentence. She was afraid that it would take too much time to catch up with Nefong. And Sikong Bushua would also run away. The air suddenly calmed down. Sikong's scholarship's mouth opened and closed, close again. Zhang again, but I don't know what to say. On the contrary. Sona said first, "You should break level 45. Sikong learned cold sweat again. Why? Sikong learns to question why Suyana does this. But Sona did not give him this opportunity. Who thinks about Big Ming? Sikong learned instantly into the dream. In a dream, his breakthrough is not ended, his breath is still rising. Sona made a loud noise, exchanged dreams with reality. Sikong learning in reality, the magic in the body is constantly trying to break through shackles, break through the peak. No! Sikong learns to grow up. Chapter 702 Sikong Bushua, dead. A few minutes later, Sikong Bushua reluctantly broke through to level 45. He felt extremely powerful, and his mental strength reached an unprecedented height. Now Sikong Bushua can wantonly play with the minds of others. A simple look, an inadvertent movement, a soft whisper, is enough to make all the strong men below level 45, devoted to him, completely surrender. Even a strong person above level 45 cannot last more than 2 minutes in his hands. Such a powerful force made Sikong Bushua somewhat intoxicated. Only after reaching level 45 myself, I know how big the gap is between level 45 and level 44. Sikong Bushua murmured in a low voice. I was able to successfully hypnotize Catherine before. I guess it was because you helped in secret? In front of him, Catherine nodded and said, "Of course. You helped me so much, just to kill me?" Sikong Bushua smiled bitterly. Actually, I thought there would be such a day, but I didn't expect it to come so soon. It's almost. I haven't had time to prepare, leave your back. Sona stands with a negative hand, tone indifferent. I didn't plan to kill you now tonight, I should have absorbed the power of Diyang. But Nanfeng prevented Yue Huang from killing Diyang. Weird, you just blame Nanfeng. Sikong sneered at his scholarly. I'm going to die. I am going to die. Why should you lead the hatred on Nanfeng? The Emperor did not kill De Young. Can't you kill yourself? After all, you just want to kill me. Whether the Nanfeng stops the Moon Emperor, this result will not be changed. Sora was silent for a while. There is still a bit free time to touch. Then he explained, You are wrong. You will die today. It's really because of Nanfeng. He disrupted my plan. Not only did the Emperor kill De Young, only the Emperor's killing also attracted the Emperor. I reshaped my body, the energy that was stored in that year. I am not an opponent of Emperor Zun now. I must absorb the energy of 2 to 345 strong as soon as possible. And, in order to step into level 46, he has the power to fight with Emperor Zun. Sikon learned and asked, So do you choose to absorb the energy of me and Catherine? What about Nanfeng? You never thought about killing him, absorb his energy? Sona stared at Sikon and learned for a while smile. I killed him now. When I wait for my level 47, who can absorb the energy? You have to know, not everyone has the potential to reach that height. Sikon learned and enlightened. It turns out that Suya Na didn't kill Nanfeng now, because Nanfeng wasn't fat enough yet. She wanted to fatten Nanfeng up before killing him. So it seems that Long Woody can't escape your clutches either. Right? Sikon Wushua suddenly laughed. Okay. Then I'll have a companion on my way to the underworld. As he said that, Sikon Wushua looked into Suya Na's eyes, and suddenly opened his pocket watch. He hadn't given up yet, and he felt that he still had a chance to save her. Even if you are the god of dreams, I, Sikon Wushua, will hypnotize you. Sikon Wushua's pupils formed a bottomless vortex, and anyone who looked into his eyes would sink into it, and could never escape. This was Sikon Wushua's most powerful moment. He even had a feeling that if he used all his strength now, he could hypnotize a city in just a moment. Unfortunately, the person in front of him was the dream god Suyana. Suyana whispered, Do you know? The pocket watch in your hand was condensed by my magic power. Sikon Wushua was stunned. Each of the life-defining magic weapons is actually condensed by a strand of magic power from the god of creation. I was once a god of creation, and I also have the ability to create life-defining magic weapons. Suyana slowly stretched out her hand, and the pocket watch in Sikon Wushua's hand shattered, turning into a strand of extremely pure magic power, which merged into Suyana's body. More than 100,000 years ago, on the eve of the battle with the god of creation, the 49th level Suya Na stored a little bit of magic power in the statue. Those magic powers contain all kinds of changes between heaven and earth, the great way of the universe, and the power of God. In the previous battle between Suya Na and Emperor Zun in Liyun City, Suya Na, who was in the state of residual soul, relied on a wisp of magic power from 100,000 years ago to steadily suppress Emperor Zun. Some time ago, Suya Na consumed all her magic power in order to reshape a suitable body. At this time, it is natural to recover the magic power in Sikon Wushua's hands. Without the pocket watch, it is equivalent to losing the life-defining magic weapon. Sikon Wushua's aura is rapidly falling, and he will soon fall back to level 44. I talked to you so much just now, just to let you stabilize your realm and not fall too fast, Suyana said, without giving Sikon Wushua a chance to continue speaking, and smashed his head with a palm. Humans are very fragile, even the strong ones at level 45. I'm afraid Sikon Wushua himself didn't expect that after losing his usefulness, he would die so easily. The huge magic power in Sikon Wushua's body began to spread out. Suyana closed her eyes calmly. A crescent-shaped pattern appeared between her eyebrows, and quickly absorbed the scattered magic power into it. The energy of a level 45 strongman was absorbed by Suyana. Only less than 0.01% of the magic power, which drifted away with a gentle breeze. Suyana silently watched the trace of magic power go away, murmured, The mental power is too strong. Can it still exist in the form of consciousness for a while? I estimate that it will dissipate in 10 minutes. Never mind, you can do whatever you want. She stood there, thinking about the next plan. Catherine ran away. I have to find another level 45 strongman to absorb. Let's not consider the strongman of the Falling Sun Empire. The Moon Emperor is a good target, but with my incomplete body, I may not be able to kill him in the Moon Palace. On the contrary, it will alert the enemy. After thinking for a long time, Suyana took out a bronze mirror from her arms. This is the mother-child mirror. All the mother-child mirrors and mother-child mirrors are separated from the mother-child mirror. Now, the mother-child mirror stores a lot of magic power. When the audience watching the live broadcast gives magic power to the anchor, Suyana will take a part of it and store it in the mother-child mirror. These low-level magic powers are too mixed, and absorbing them is like eating shit. They are far less pure than the magic power of a 45-level strongman. Suyana doesn't like it, but it would be a waste to keep so much magic power in her hands. It's better to train an apprentice, pour this magic power into his body, and force him to 45. No, 46th level. Suyana only needs to absorb the energy of another 45-level strongman to reach 46th level. By then, 45-level magic power is just dog shit full of impurities to her, and she can't absorb any of it. So, she needs to cultivate a 46th level. Food. Chapter 703. The last 3 sentences. A breeze passed through the wilderness and the sea of forests, soaring in the vast sky and earth. The wind is free, but this breeze seemed to have something important to do, and it was anxious. It quickly passed through one mountain after another, and brushed past one green leaf after another. It finally arrived at the destination at the last moment. In the military camp of the Hallyu Empire, the twins who had already mixed into the logistics troops suddenly had black eyes and fell to the ground. But after just a dozen seconds, they woke up. The twins looked at each other, their eyes full of doubt. "Sister, I just dreamed of the master," Li Miaomi said. "Me too." Li Miaomi got up from the ground and asked, "What did the master say to you?" Li Miaomi recalled and said. The master kept repeating 3 sentences. After that, Li Miaomi looked at her sister. "What about you? What did the master say to you? Are they also these 3 sentences?" Li Miaomi shook her head slightly and said in a serious tone, "The master asked me to convey these 3 sentences to Long Wudi." The twins were silent for a while. They could feel that their deep admiration and loyalty to Sikong Bushue was slowly waning. This might mean Sikong Bushue died again. In the fog, Nancheng. A few minutes ago, Nanfeng carried Catherine at the most extreme speed and rushed for more than 200 kilometers. After Catherine woke up, they quickly took out the teleportation array and left here. Suyana didn't chase me. Did she think I was not as handsome as Sikong Bushue? After escaping from danger, Nanfeng even had the mood to complain. The streets were sparsely populated, and there was not a single chosen one to be seen. Nanfeng scratched his head and remembered, "Oh, Long Wudi went to attack Nanjiang City today, and the brothers from Nancheng also went to help. I don't know how the battle went." Although he said so, Nanfeng had actually guessed the result. How could a small Nanjiang city withstand the joint attack of Longcheng and Nancheng? They are probably having a celebration banquet now. "Oh, if I teleport over now, won't I be able to get some food?" Nanfeng smiled and sent a message to Xiao Luo, saying that he would teleport over. Xiao Luo quickly replied with a message. After Nanfeng read it, he was stunned. What the hell? Long Wudi resisted the explosive output of the strong men in Nanjiang. Was seriously injured. And is he receiving treatment now? Someone in Nanjiang City could actually injure Long Wudi? Seriously? This is too exaggerated. Nanfeng, quick! I want to teleport over. Nanfeng stepped on the teleportation array, and Xiao Luo's name soon lit up. With a flash of silver light, Nanfeng appeared in Nanjiang City. Standing in front of him was Xiao Luo wearing a hood. How is the war going now? Has Nanjiang been taken? Where is the man who injured Long Wudi? Let me. Nan. Go meet him. Nanfeng said, while observing the situation around him. The city is very peaceful. It doesn't look like a war at all. There is also a night market nearby. The hawking of vendors is endless, and the aroma of barbecue makes Nanfeng lick his lips subconsciously. I want to eat. Xiao Luo said calmly. Nanjiang has been taken. Oh, that's fine. Where is the man who injured Long Wudi? Did he run away? Nanfeng asked again. Xiao Luo, I said it at the beginning. Nanfeng, what did you say? Xiao Luo, the person who injured Long Wudi, exploded. Nanfeng was stunned. Okay, so this is the explosive output. That's not right. Long Wudi is not stupid. If the other party blew himself up, wouldn't he run away? How could he be seriously injured? Nanfeng was still puzzled. The other party wanted to blow up Nanjiang City. Long Wudi had to take it on himself. Xiao Luo briefly explained the situation today. So that's it. Nanfeng asked, where is Long Wudi? I'll go see him. Xiao Luo pointed in a direction. Go this way. You'll meet a lot of people from Longcheng on the way. They'll take you there. Nanfeng, Aren't you going? Xiao Luo, I have something else to do, I'll go there later. Nanfeng nodded, looked at the kebab stall at the night market again, licked his lips and said to himself, forget it, it's more important to see Long Wuti first, I'll come and try it next time I'm free. Just as he was about to leave he saw, seeing the kebab vendor waving at Xiao Luo. He shouted enthusiastically, Sir, your 50 kebabs are ready. Nanfeng looked into Xiao Luo's eyes. You just said you had something to do. So you were waiting for the kebabs here? Yes. Xiao Luo said righteously. Who is like you? Going to see a patient empty-handed? Nanfeng pondered for a long time. What you said makes sense. Then give me 25 kebabs. The two of them each took 25 kebabs and strode to visit the seriously injured Long Wuti. 10 minutes later, they arrived at a temporary camp and saw Long Wuti doing boxing. Brother Feng, weren't you at the border between the two countries? Why are you back? Seeing Nanfeng, Long Wuti seemed a little surprised. Nanfeng tilted his head, indicating that he was also a little surprised. Are you seriously injured? Long Wuti spread his hands and said, more than 200 priests nursed you for 3 hours. And they can nurse a dead person back to life. And to be honest, my injury is not as serious as you think. Nanfeng, well, it was a false alarm. Xiao Luo and I brought barbecue skewers to see you. Long Wuti's eyes lit up. And then he looked at the empty hands of Nanfeng and Xiao Luo and asked in confusion, where are the barbecue skewers? Xiao Luo, I finished eating halfway. Long Wuti. Nanfeng licked the oil left on the corner of his mouth and said, we mainly thought that you were too seriously injured and couldn't eat greasy and spicy food. So we ate the skewers and brought you some fruits instead. Long Wuti asked again, what about the fruits? Xiao Luo, it's too late. I didn't buy any. Long Wuti. It was so numb. After talking nonsense for a long time, I still came empty-handed. Nanfeng, although I didn't bring you any food, I brought you some good news. Long Wuti, what good news? Nanfeng chuckled. Just now I was attacked from both sides by Suya Na and Si Kong Bushue. I fought 1v2 and killed one of them. Guess who I killed? Long Wuti was shocked. Could it be that? You killed the dream god Suya Na? Nanfeng gave a fake smile. You think too highly of me. I killed Si Kong Bushue. But Long Wuti frowned slightly. Are you sure? I'm sure, right? Seeing Long Wuti's expression, Nanfeng was also a little unconfident. Did Suyana not kill Si Kong Bushue? Did he guess wrong? Long Wuti said, that's strange. Just a minute ago, the twins sent me a message, saying that Si Kong Bushue had 3 things to tell me. Nanfeng asked suspiciously, which 3 things? Long Wuti glanced at the panel and read the 3 sentences verbatim. The life weapon is a trap. Discard it as soon as possible. Be careful of every dream you have in the future. Don't be the first to break through level 47.